What is up? What is up? What is up? What is up? How it be? Tiny going late again. Damn. Also looks like I'm gonna win both of my week 1 matchups. Hey. How dope is that? How dope is that? Ah. We in here. Clearing out my Firefox cache because she been a slow bitch. Boy oh boy. How was everybody's weekend? Ooh. Oh! Spam again. The bots are just here all the time now. Every fucking time I start my stream. There be bots. Jeez, Firefox is taking a while to clear. Maybe we should just do like a clean install of it at some point because it's been laggy. I feel like that's one of the things that's causing big problems with speed on my computer. Yeah, it'll catch up in a second. Jesus. Leo posting fire. Oh my god. Y'all are popping off in politics. Okay. I think we're good. I think we're clear now. Oh. Oh, yeah. She running way faster. Good. What up, barcode? Wagwan. Oh, check my device. Beautiful. How we doing? Look who it is! No fucking way.
Anyone who's new.
What?
Smith.
What did I do?
Who is new?
What did I do? Okay, I got it. Sick. Okay, here we go. Here we go. How is everybody? How was y'all's weekend? Kick Chat is being autistic. Well, I thought I had enough autism for all of us, but apparently not. Kick Chat's got to get in on that too. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Just cleaned out my Firefox cache. I feel like that's been one of the reasons why my shit has been going so slow lately. I'm hoping that speeds it up a little bit. You know, also probably the fact that I'm on a 10-year-old computer. Well, you know. Okay. Well, thank you for allowing me to sign in. I appreciate it. Ooh. My voice sounds very low today. Yeah, exactly. Chad, indeed. All right. All right. So at some point, you know, maybe when more people filter in, I want to start getting into some of the politics stuff. But like, maybe when in the mean pulled up my YouTube stream from a chat. In the meantime, any drama I need to catch up on, any slop. Casper. Wow, using a Destiny emote in my chat. Bold. How bold of you, Genital Kenobi. Indeed. Everybody curtsy or bow to the queen, depending on how you feel. Either is fine. There you go. How long is Tiny going to be playing time? Easiest emoji in the car. No, that's fair. I was just giving you a hard time. You know, you can use whatever emoji you want. No, I'm seeing. Alright. Let's see. We got any good slop? Anyone got any good slop for me? Oh. Oh, yeah. The game. I'm just saying, let's get it out of the way now before Cosmic comes in, because Cosmic hates slop. And he will facepalm me. I already know. No. Link me? Bro, why are you going to post the definition of genocide and then not actually understand the definition of genocide. How are you gonna like walk right into the fucking point and still not understand it? Like am I fucking tripping here? It's super pain inducing. Hey Victoria,
What's up?
how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm alright. I'm just chilling. How about you?
Good, good. Well, no, because you told me last time you weren't feeling so well, so I'm just checking in. Um,
Yeah, I'm still under the weather. Well, it's not really under the weather. It's just what we've been working on, and just
yeah,
work hard, play hard.
yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
I'm just a little run down. And plus a couple other things, but hanging in there. So yeah, but thanks for checking in.
Yeah, of course. Happy to. Hang on, I'm just responding to a text. Um, yeah. Anyway, we're looking at. Is there more to this blue collar, or is it just this right now? Recent stay granted by the Supreme Court. Yes, I have. That was actually something. If you look at the title of the stream, that was something I was going to be talking about. I don't think he did. Yeah, this is so stupid, dude. Like, they post these things like it's so obvious, but it's not. No, no worries, brother. You're good. They post these things like, oh yeah, it's so obvious. It's a genocide. It's there's no question. But then in the definition that they post themselves, the main crux of the argument that's still being debated is staring them right in the fucking face. So, yeah. Yeah. Frustrating. And that's exactly what Loner would say. I mean, I hope he would respond that way to it, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of people who do care about the people on the ground. Um, and, but, when you're talking about, like, Bad Empanada, when you're talking about, like, Hassan or like, a lot of these lefty bread tube streamer types, I think they're just trying to say whatever their audience wants them to, so. And what are you going to do about that? You can't do shit. All self-aggrandizement from these kinds of folks. Ones who whip out the it's genocide bullshit instead of trying to make headway on legitimate ways forward. Yeah, that's the thing that bothers me most is it's like we can talk about whether it's a genocide all we want, till the cows come home. But like let's say tomorrow I woke up and I said, you know what, I think it's a genocide now, or let's say like everybody wakes up tomorrow and they say, oh, it's a genocide now, we are still not even a single step closer to actually resolving the problem. Like, deciding whether it's a genocide or not, while obviously there is importance in that context, for the actual outcomes on the ground, for the actual impact it's going to have for like the real lives of Palestinian and Israeli people, and obviously right now much more Palestinian, citizens in Gaza, it doesn't change a goddamn thing if we're not actually working towards some sort of peace deal and eventually hopefully a two-state solution. It's just fucking jerking yourself off. And so, yeah, that I think also is like the most frustrating thing that I find is like, yeah, I enjoy, maybe this sounds a little fucked, I hope not. I enjoy like the intellectual sort of discussion of like, okay, is it a genocide? Is it not a genocide? What's the legal definition? How do we go into that, right? And from like an intellectual perspective, I think it's an interesting discussion. But like if I care about actually solving the problem, that doesn't do anything to solve the problem. And in fact, in a lot of cases, like having everyone come out and say, it's a genocide, as we've seen, like Israel doesn't want to come to the table for shit like that, whether we like it or not. And so you just have to find a way to actually move it forward. And yeah, I agree. I don't think it is. What are your thoughts about what I just said, Victoria?
I mean, that was fucking crazy. I'm gonna have to think about that for a minute. I mean, like, bruh. Okay.
Well,
I mean, you conceded the genocide in the same statement. You're like, well, they're not gonna admit it, so what you gonna do? Like,
no,
mean,
no, that's not what I was saying at all.
also, I don't have all the context of what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's
But
not
you're
what I was
saying
saying at
the
all.
gist of it was, and I was partially listening, so my bad. But the gist of it was like it doesn't matter if it's labeled as a genocide because it doesn't resolve the issue of
No,
genocide. And
yeah,
then
no, that's
said
not
something
actually what I
silly,
was
which is
saying.
like, I enjoy the discussions of genocide. I mean, intellectually wise.
Yeah,
But
so
anyways,
let me
Israel won't,
restate
admit to it.
so you
So
understand what I'm trying to
I
say
mean, I
here.
think I got it. I mean, what
No, I
else
don't
is there
think
to
you
say?
did. What I was saying
I mean, we'll make it
specifically,
short. I don't need the long version.
yeah, specifically what I'm saying is a lot of people, they focus on calling it a genocide or not. And while that is an important discussion, and I did say that the first time, that is a very important discussion, that actually doesn't get us closer to solving the issue. And I think people focus on that topic a lot more than actually the steps that we need to take to end the war, to establish hopefully a two-state solution, and to get to a long-term solution. The genocide
Like
issue
what
is going to get
people? If
worked
you
out.
mean just like people in general, like just assholes on the internet, or like dumbasses like AOC or whatever, I do think there's an issue with you know like the communication from leadership. Because we're getting,
Sure.
like our own politicians, everybody loves throwing that word in there, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but this is nothing new. It's gone on before. Is it a massacre or is it genocide
No,
or
and I think
wild
that is
card
a
ethnic
discussion.
cleansing?
And I think that's a discussion. And I was saying, like, yeah, I think it's an important and interesting discussion to have. And I think it's interesting from an intellectual perspective. Not just that I think it's
I
interesting
mean,
from
that
an
part is a
intellectual
little bit
perspective.
weird, but all right.
I mean, I'm just being
I mean,
honest. Like,
yeah. I mean, like it sounds like you're, like thrilled. You're like, yes, like it's a game of chess. But all right.
yeah, I mean, that doesn't, I'm not, look,
Look, you're
I,
just weird, okay? But
I'm
anyways,
weird.
I'm
We
moving
know
on.
this. I'm weird. I'm a
Yeah, because
fucking
you guys got to
autist.
fill in the gaps about, like, it's like, well, Israel be doing stuff. I
Sure.
mean, listen, I get it, all right, but I don't know what to say.
I mean, and
But you know me,
I'll say
like
they committed war crimes.
like I'm legal, like so I'm careful about applying that label.
Well,
Now, if we
that's
want to get into like some philosophical bullshit about like from a morality point of
no.
view,
I'm talking about the
fine, I
legal
guess.
discussion. I find the legal discussion to be very interesting. That's what I'm saying.
All right, well, that's, better phrase
That's
because
yeah,
I
that's what
mean,
I meant.
I
Yeah.
guess I do as well, but I'm only going to be examining that when it is a question of
What's up, Van Kirk?
genocide.
Yeah. I'm not sitting here like fucking bricked up
I
about like
know,
if there's a
man. You know how
genocide going on.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what you're
No,
talking
I just
about.
like I said, I find the
But
legal
if there's enough
discussion interesting.
voices, it does. Listen, I mean, obviously, everybody understands that if enough of the people consider a genocide, then something should be done.
Well, I think something should
But
be
I
done
don't find it useful
regardless.
when the language is mixed around. Now, as far as having like intellectual academia, historical, or like political discussion about it, that's different. But I just find within the media and leadership on all sides saying this, and again, I mean, it looks like that. History seems to imply that. I mean, it shows that.
Well, I
However,
mean,
I'm
we could
not.
and we
I'm
could
not
get
the
into
arbiter
those.
here.
We could get
I'm
into
not the
those
arbiter.
specifics another time. I'd probably disagree with that. Except, I think the argument is much easier to make with since 2025 began,
No,
and
I'm
we
just
could go
waiting.
into
I'm
that.
just waiting for the evidence. We've discussed this before.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
think
hesitant and reluctant
a hundred
because
percent, 100%.
at
But
that point, I'm
you
making
said
assumptions
something.
about the minds of the
You said
people.
something that helped me sort of center my thoughts a little bit more in a more concise way. I think. So, I guess my point is whether it is or isn't a genocide doesn't change the pathway that I see to actually solving the issue. The pathway is the same. That's sort of what I'm trying to say.
Labeling it as a genocide, prioritizes the matter greatly, right? So that would be the thing. I
Well,
mean,
I
like,
think
I
it's one of the
understand you're
biggest
being
priorities
pragmatic
that we
here and
have.
solutions based, but that assumes everybody's like on the same page. And I mean, again, when something is labeled, genocide, particularly, when we're talking about Israel, I mean, that's no good.
I mean,
If enough people are saying genocide
does
and
it
you
really
feel
change
like,
things? I mean, look at Sudan.
I don't know, genocide's a powerful word. That's why I
I
don't throw it around.
No, I think it. I mean, I think it has been determined that what happened in Darfur and what's
Netanyahu's been
happening there.
charged with it. Well, not yet, but I
No,
mean,
no,
again, war crimes. And I
war
think,
crimes.
again, and I'll
Yes,
give
war
Daniel
crimes.
Liddick
Yeah,
credit on this, that you're going to see it on all sides. I mean, now
I
whether
agree.
justice and whether
A
we
couple
see that
things.
on the record, we'll find out. The
I
truth
am
will come
not at
out.
all going to argue that war crimes have been committed. Obviously, war crimes have been committed. I have, I don't necessarily disagree with there needing to be some sort of legal process for Netanyahu, some sort of investigation of how the orders went through the system and so on. I'm open to all of those things. I don't have a problem with any of
He's
that.
still on my ads. Like I don't know. Like, so here's the problem and I always take the perspective of a lay person, right? So you look at this and there's mixed messaging about it. And again, then there's a conflation with the population of Israel or Israelis, again, that, want to, like, and we're talking about the religious folks, the extremist folks,
Sure.
the old world folks, which I also understand, just, own up to it. Like, all I'm saying.
Yeah,
But like, I get it, but
and those people
that
can
is
be
the
fucking
problem,
nuts.
is that when we look at the entire population, it's just like, okay, are we going on the holy war? Like, I mean, we can have that rhetoric. I mean, I love those discussions. Like, it's coming.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
when.
I'm sure there's
Pick
some
your
people who see it
sides,
that
okay?
way
But like,
on.
other
I
than
am
that, like,
positive there are people
separating
who
those
see it that way
out,
on both sides. And those people are nuts. Like, what can
I
you
mean,
do?
if you
Those
want
people
my
are
honest
fucking out of their
opinion,
mind.
that shit is that's old blood, and that isn't gonna die.
No,
I don't
it's
have
not.
any solutions for that,
No,
I really don't. So
I
we'll see
don't.
what
Right.
happens.
But that's why
But
I say the solutions have to be secular. Like, we have to. Like, if we're going to solve this issue, there has to be a way to come to some sort of agreement like I say, to establish, a two-state solution. I think that's the only way to do it. One state is not.
Just stop killing the Palestinians. I don't know.
Well, but
I
then
mean, I know,
they
but the
have to
problem
stop
is
killing
which one's a
Israelis.
terrorist?
They have to
I
stop
get it.
killing Israelis too. It's a two-way street.
I
Like,
know. I understand. I understand, but it's just like
I mean, it's just if it were that easy.
I understand, Jordan. We already. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's like case closed. It's like, well, either they stop killing each other, but the problem here is that Israel, is the majority. Israel's on top here. Like so, and that's what gets people
Well
fucked
then,
up.
well
I mean,
I
so
think
yes,
another
like
big
I
issue.
mean,
I mean, like
and people
you
turn
know,
this into a moral issue because they're morally superior in the situation and
but that's
militarily.
not. But that's not. I mean, that's not like if you have a side in a war that doesn't play by the rules, you playing by the
You
rules
guys
is
don't
gonna
need
get you
no, but
killed.
neither of them are. That's
That's
why
what
they
I'm.
have
No, that's my
partners.
point. That's what I'm saying. Like if your opponent isn't playing by the rules, and then you do play by the rules, you're gonna get fucked. That's just how it
And
goes. It's not pretty. It's not
I
good.
understand how war works. Like, so,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, that's what I'm saying. I don't have this, I'm not arguing anything.
Yeah.
It's just like, well,
Like the whole thing is so
they're going
fucked
to say,
from so
you
many
stop
angles.
killing us, and then you stop killing us. I get it.
Right.
If I was an Israeli and it's like, they got the hostages, but then you got hostages. But okay,
Right.
let's just go with they're holding your hostage. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that. Be fucking
And
pissed.
like for everyone
On
who
the other
says,
hand, like,
well,
and then we
Israel
talked
could
about
end
before
this.
the tactics and procedures with this,
Yeah,
uh, you
but
know,
like,
and you
but
guys do have
also,
a history of, like probably not taking, like collateral damage, as seriously. But I get it. Different cultures do as well. I don't agree with it. My issue is just when it gets into these humanitarian,
yeah, I
situations.
mean, like, and when we're talking about like the aid stuff, I've been pretty clearly, unequivocally, like, you have to let aid in. You have to stop doing that. I've
No,
expressed
I
the
mean,
Israeli
I
position on
won't
that.
call it a genocide or ethnic cleansing. But then again, like you said, we have mixed messaging, and honestly, there are a lot that believe that on both sides and other
But
sides
I
too.
think it's also important to like point out, for all the things that you said, which are true, it's also important to point out that it is true that Hamas could end this war tomorrow, right? And so, what are like what, to
One, I
say like
mean,
it
again,
always
and I
falls
can't
at
really
one
go on
side is just
defense
not.
for Hamas, and I'm not defending them.
I'm not
But
saying you
again,
are. Holy shit!
like I'm
Absolutely, am I
just
not
saying, like
saying
I
that?
don't know, like I mean, they could end it, or you could too. Like it's just hot potato at this point. I get it.
I mean, I don't see from an Israeli perspective. I don't see how they could, after October 7th, how they could allow Hamas to continue being in charge of Gaza. And I understand that point of view. And so, like, I'm not gonna see.
Dude, I this has been happening for 45 years in my life, Jordan. All
Yeah,
right. Hama, like insert character. I don't
sure.
mean to be rude, but I'm just like, look, the place is fucked. Like I don't know what to tell you. Blame the British. It was the British and the French, and they fucking, and in fact, it was the League of Nations, okay? The Ottomans, and then you guys came in, the Palestinians were around, and of course this is the
So were the
Holy Land,
Jews.
you asshole. And
Jews were
then we
around too.
have the League of Nations, okay? And Britain and France, they're like, oh, yes, we're going to help you guys. We're going to, because you guys were warring with each other. Understandable, okay? And then they didn't do anything. And then guess what? The Holocaust. So
Mm-hmm.
after all that shit, it's 1945. There's a fuck ton of refugees, especially the Jews, going down to Israel. Meanwhile, you guys are still duking it out
Mm-hmm.
with the Arabs, Palestinians, others,
Yep.
and they had also promised in World War II, and then we get 1948, right?
Mm-hmm.
1947, a bunch of rejections, whatever, it gets carved up. And the
Yep.
same thing with India and a bunch of other places, and you know the rest of the story.
Yep.
So if you want to be mad at anybody, be mad at them. And
Yeah.
we didn't want shit to do
I
with
mean,
them as
like
the
I,
United
I,
States.
I'm not even gonna
We were
disagree
like,
with you
fuck
on that.
this.
And chat Van Kirk just says honestly, blame the British during the 19th and 20th century.
The
Pretty
British
solid
and the
rule of
French, yeah,
thumb.
they said in the
Yeah.
1900s they take care of this
Yeah.
League of Nations, and they're like, oh, ho, ho, and they didn't do shit. And then guess what? World War II, the Holocaust happened.
Yeah. I mean, like ultimately, and Steele and I have had conversations about this. And while obviously we're sort of like on differing sides on opinion on this, one thing we agree on is that there has to be some sort of outside way to like enforce a permanent two-state solution, because it doesn't seem like they'll be able to do it on their
I
own.
totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. That's a big problem.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, we've had Georgia, like it's. I'm sorry, but like, is if I was Israel, am I gonna let that go? No, and I got America
Mm-mm.
like that's taking care of me because of agreements. You
Sure.
know,
Yeah. I mean,
handshaking. So after
it's the oldest
Papa
active
President
conflict
France
basically right
left
now.
us,
So
United States has been defending us, and it's just like we can go back to the money, right? And other agreements. Meanwhile, we were fucking with the,
Barcode,
this is
I
all the
do think a
economic stuff in
two-state
the
solution
background.
is possible, but it's going to require like outside pressure, and not just outside pressure on Israel. It's going to require outside pressure on both Israel and Palestine, specifically
I agree.
Gaza, because
Totally.
I think the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank would be much more willing to negotiate a two-state solution, but Gaza, as long as Hamas is in charge, I don't think that's going to happen. Um, I mean, right now, a two-state solution is the least popular option both in Israel and Palestine, so it would have to be outside.
It's
Uh,
not the two. Again, I told you this 3 years ago. Like, and this wasn't from my words. These are much wiser ones than us. And I'm telling you. And I honestly, I don't know, but it's not going to work. It's like somebody has to actually come out, like
yeah,
you said,
yeah,
and
yep,
police
yep, yep, yep.
this. And honestly, I'm, and thinking about it, I'm like, well, that's going to be fun. Why do you
Um,
think this is going on for a while?
yeah.
This is
What
going
do
to
I
be
think of
fun because,
Macron's
again, if I was those
proposals?
countries, but particularly Israel, do you think I'm going to fucking no, like,
No, of
unless,
course not.
they're going to make concessions and then just throw on top, it's just the
Well,
holy area. Fuck.
historically, and I don't know like what we could possibly expect with this cabinet. This cabinet is crazy, but
The
historically, Israel
United
has
States
been
would have to
willing.
really push that and, like, make
Is
it happen.
true, but if we look at it historically, Israel has been willing to give up a lot for a
Like
sustained
what?
peace. What do you mean?
We're talking about, small amounts of land, really.
The entire Sinai
Oh.
they gave back to Egypt?
It gets complicated. All right.
I mean, they've done it a bunch of times. This is all I'm saying. Now,
Yeah. Well,
I don't know
you want
about.
to start rolling back the clock. That's the thing with all these matters.
That's why I'm
Is
saying
that
I don't
it's
know
not that
about this.
it's like,
I don't know
well,
about this administration. Is what I'm saying, right? Like I don't know. Like they're pretty
look, that
hard
problem is
line.
not going to be solved anytime soon. I don't know what to say, but all I know is that we know what's about to happen. It's gonna suck.
Yeah, well, we will see. It looks like. It'll look like.
That might
Are
swing
you
towards a
are you
lot more
talking about
pressure, international pressure
Victoria
against
barcode?
Israel. Maybe we'll
Barcode. I
have
think you're talking about
police.
Victoria, not Casper. Victoria is who I'm talking to. He asked you to stay closer to your mic. That you keep getting quiet.
You won't let the UN in. So,
I mean, as soon as the war is over, I'm
well,
sure
we're
the UN
talking
will be
about
going in.
policing this, right? I mean,
Mm.
so you want your two. I mean, gotta let them in.
Yeah, I think.
So the more international pressure there is, there's a possibility with like the genocide and war crimes, and
I
so I
mean,
mean, and it doesn't
maybe.
matter if it's just Israel because there's all those contractors. Everybody's fucking running around. All I know is this, like, well, this is about to turn into a bloodbath.
Well,
So
it's already been kind of a bloodbath, but.
yeah, but they're corralling them down.
Yeah, the ethnic cleansing,
With
I'm not
and
really happy
this
about,
is not just this is
or the
textbook. It
potential
happens
for it.
every time
Yeah.
in every conflict or
Well,
massacre or whatever you want to call it, all the time. And that's what's going to happen, and or unless there's a miracle. I doubt
well,
it.
I mean, we'll see. I don't feel good about it,
And it will
especially
look
with
bad on
Trump
Israel. Like
supporting.
it will definitely look bad on Israel. like 100%.
Yeah, well,
If
yeah,
that happens.
I think that ship has already fucking sailed. Gonna be honest with you.
Well, then there's more international pressure and then international
I
sanctions.
think, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think international pressure is gonna do much at this point. I don't think they really care. Unless the US starts
What do
doing
you
it
mean?
and
They
the
talk
Trump is
about it
not.
like every day in the UN. What are you talking about?
No, I don't think Israel cares, is what I'm saying.
Oh no, they don't give a shit. They don't
Yeah.
recognize it either.
Yeah.
So
So
I mean,
I
I
don't
get
think
it.
that's gonna change much for them, and
No,
you
Israel's
kind
gonna
of need
keep
them.
doing it. So I think it comes down to, is the United States gonna keep backing it? And the United States would have to do a hard no. And I don't
Under
think that's
Trump,
ever gonna
that's I
happen.
don't think that's changing
I
under
don't even
Trump.
think it's gonna happen after that. Like you guys would have to
Um,
really fuck up.
yeah,
Like really fuck up.
yeah,
Like big time. So I don't know.
yeah.
And I'm
Maybe,
just
well,
joking
maybe I
around.
don't
Like
know.
I
We're
like I had
starting
a
to
couple
see,
drinks tonight, but I don't know what to tell you.
yeah, we're starting to see pressure from the Arab League, so that is welcome to
Well, and
Israelis
they're
for sure.
getting, there's some other radicalizations going on. Like basically it's like the late 80s. It's happening again.
No, I'm saying we're seeing pressure on Hamas from the Arab League. So the Arab League
Real
recently came out and told Hamas that they need to disband and leave Gaza and return the hostages, which is like a
real
huge
quick, Jordan.
development. Yeah.
Is there any way you can turn up your Discord audio? The chat can't hear your guest.
Um,
Or Victoria, if you want to
or here,
raise your volume or your
I
sensitivity,
can
that'd be
turn up
great.
Victoria's volume on my end over here. Victoria, say something. Victoria, give me like a little sound check.
I had push to talk on and some other shit. Is it better?
Let me see. Is that better, guys?
I don't know.
That's good. They say that's
Hello.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, I just turned your volume up on my end, so.
Turn your gain down. I don't know. Your
No,
gain
no,
is
no. They say you're good now. They say you're fine.
You're good. You're good
Yeah.
now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Continue. Bye.
Yeah. So recently, the Arab League came out, which is like, I think it was the 22 countries in the Arab League, and then an additional 5 countries outside of the Arab League, and they all came and they said Hamas needs to disband, leave Gaza, and release the hostages. So, I think it's important. One of the biggest reasons why Israel gives no shits about international pressure right now is because from their perspective, it's all on them. Now, people may feel that's justified, and that is what it is. But if we're trying to get a solution, Israel's not going to want to come to the table with the international community if they don't feel like their position is being understood and met, right? Because they're still real. I mean, they're still reeling from October 7th. It's only been a couple years. We were feeling September 11th for quite a while afterwards, and essentially that's what it was for them. So
I look. I'm old world. That's the thing, is that you guys like pretend, with your democracy and your morals and shit, and just like be real about it. It's just like, and I get it. Doesn't mean I agree with it.
I'm just trying to think pragmatically.
But if I was in their position, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, and
But
yeah, from I think that was a big step in the right direction. We'll see. We'll see how it goes forward. Hopefully it gets better. Probably won't, but fuck.
well, Hamas, even if Hamas gets out of there, it'll be something next. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Well,
It really
it
doesn't.
depends.
I'm sorry.
No, I think it really does depend because again, Israel has peace with Jordan, Israel has peace with Egypt, Israel's working on peace with
Sure.
Saudi Arabia, even Syria has said they want to come to the table, join the Abraham Accords. There's been over history, there's been a lot of ways to make peace with Israel, and I know if Palestinians came in good faith and actually tried to negotiate a permanent 2-state solution, Israel will at least hear them out. And there were several occasions in which
and then you'll be like, we offered them a deal.
Well, that's already happened.
And then they'll
that.
reject it.
But yeah, that's why I'm saying if they have leadership,
but
that's
the
actually.
fun thing is, people never read that shit either, though. And I'm not, I just play. Listen, I'm a demon. I play all sides. And I'm just saying that when you read this shit, you're like, well, from the other perspective, this is kind of fucked.
I mean, did you look at
It's
the
easy to say it's like, well, they've rejected every deal. And again, I'm
well, yeah,
being
but the
like, a
2000,
little hyperbolic here. I'm just having
but let's
fun.
say they were all crap deals, right? They not only rejected all the deals, they never offered an alternative.
I don't
Like
know about
it's
that. I mean, I'm not a
I've
fucking
never seen one.
encyclopedia at the moment.
No one I've never
You know
seen
what,
anybody present
Jordan?
one.
History is tricky.
All right. Well,
It doesn't matter, anyways. It
I
really
would
doesn't.
say if there was a deal that I would recommend you take a look at in your own time, it would be the
Don't need to
ones.
look at the deals.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. I've
I think it's
discussed this
important.
ad nauseum.
Um,
I don't remember it all. I'm fucking not an encyclopedia. The point is that it's just like, no, it's coming. I
all
can
right.
feel it.
Okay. Well,
I know that you're all positive and shit, but
I've just say
I mean, and
2000.
you're all like,
Just look at
oh,
2000.
no emotions, all logic, blah blah blah.
Well, no, I mean
I'm
that's
like,
not
no,
true.
man, this runs deep, and that's just the
I
way it is.
I try to approach with
And
no emotions, but I
so
have
I
my
don't
own
know,
emotions on it, of course.
murder them all, get
No,
it over with.
I
Stop
don't like
fucking
that.
around then.
I don't want that. I don't
Well,
like
I
that.
don't like it either. So that's what I'm saying. Shall I draw my sword? Yeah, yes, like
You are too
some of
fucking
you,
real for
and I
me
have
sometimes,
wonderful
Victoria.
conversations with the
Jeez.
Jews who are like hardcore, and they'll be like, like they get fucking crazy. They're like, I'll see you on the battlefield. I'm like, all right then,
No,
so
well,
be it.
I don't like that.
Hey, look, I'm not the one picking a fight.
I'm not picking
But
a fight.
anyways, look, history repeats. It's coming.
Yeah. Well, we
So,
will certainly see.
I
We will
mean,
certainly see.
look at Pete Hegswith or whatever the fuck his name is. I
Hegseth?
mean, then you got you got all kinds of, again, your crazy friend wasn't wrong in that, first of all, you got, contractors for hire. And then you got those people who, literally think that they're, Templars and shit like that.
Yeah.
Those crazy fucks.
No, that shit's crazy.
Uh, I mean, you've got all kinds of, and then I don't know, the Zionist shit is just that, they're still like crazy Zionists. I don't care what kind of Zionists, all right? And we've got Israelis, but I am a lot, I do
Kahanists,
not jump to
specifically.
the immediate conclusion like people do with those surveys and stuff about how they feel. And then when we mix in ideology, religion, or just again nationality or identity, this gets really fucking complicated. And I get
Sure.
it because you know what? You know where we're from? You guys can't even handle that fucking kind of nationalism fucking
Yeah. No, I
murder
know.
shit. I'm not gonna
I
even get
know.
into it. It's
I
just
know. You
I
don't have
laugh
to.
about it. I'm like,
I
ugh.
know. I mean, like, you know. I know you
I just
know.
don't talk about it because I'm like, man, no, it's not because they can't. It's just if we
It's a
want to
whole
talk about the
thing.
realities of that.
Yeah.
But I'm not
Um,
claiming any moral high ground here. It's
I'm
just like,
not.
well, shit gets complicated.
I mean, I wouldn't dare to claim a moral high ground. I just want it to end. And I just feel
But
like,
everybody is it looks pretty bad.
of course it looks
And I
bad.
mean, you guys got all the
It is bad.
firepower. So either
Well,
take
yeah,
care
but
of it,
like,
but you can't be like, oh, the terrorists are everywhere and they're. I mean, I
well, I
don't
mean,
know.
there was a
Clean it up.
terrorist attack yesterday. like,
Well,
it doesn't stop.
I mean, I don't know. Like you said.
Or was it yesterday or like 2 days ago? I don't know. Like a couple days ago, 1 or 2 days ago. It doesn't stop. It's completely fucked. And you have like leadership on two sides that is like pretty hardcore. And they both see each other as like, at least some of them see each other as like, yeah, biblical level enemies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I hope it'll get better, but I don't know. You don't know. Anyway, chat's been saying a lot of stuff, so.
Well, what are they saying?
Let's see. Since I read the British comment, Do we actually think a two-state solution is possible? I don't know, but I want it to be. Motherfuckers on their side just don't want it. Motherfuckers on either side don't want it right now, though. Barcode. That's why. That's
It's
why it
old.
has
It's
to be
bad
outside.
blood, man. I'm
Yeah.
Lawrence from Arabia. Like it
Yeah.
goes on, it goes back. All right.
So
So if we want to get into like who's who, I don't know.
I'm unfamiliar with the specifics of Macron's proposals, Van Kirk. I'll have to take a look at them if you can link them, or let me take a look. So many conversations with Arabs in the Middle East. None of them believe Israel has a right to exist.
And vice versa, it goes on.
I've unfortunately had those conversations too. I mean, it depends on who you talk to, I think, for both Israelis and Arabs. But Arabs that live in the region, I'd say almost all of them don't. Same for probably most Israelis. How do we get Qatar to stop funding everything? Qatar wants to join, the first world and the rest of, and be part of, the big, globalist machine. I think
already have been.
Yeah, but there needs to be something put on them because they're stirring a lot of shit in a lot of places.
And because we sell weapons.
Well, yeah, they could
and
have
other shit.
They could have some of them if they were nice. Oh, I didn't mean to.
What do you
want to
do? What do you want to do? Financially regulate them?
I mean, they're.
Then the U.S. has to stop being greedy.
Well,
that means you.
Look, listen.
Listen, I get it. You want to make money.
Fueling global growth.
So which one do you want? You can't have your cake and eat it too. You're
like,
hey.
We don't talk about my business on the stream. Just remember.
No, I wasn't even talking about that. I'm talking about in general.
Oh, in general, yeah. Okay.
I'm just talking about your ways.
Sure.
Being a Jew.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Jewery. Jesus, what do you want from me?
What do you mean? We don't own all the
Jewery.
weapons companies.
You guys are the ones that are like Jewelry Association, this and that. And by the way, funny anecdote. I couldn't say the word jewelry when I was in elementary school, second grade. So I'd say jewelry all the time.
Oh, that's funny.
Until I fixed it. Yeah, it is. But don't get mad about that jewelry stuff. Plus the old ones, they told me that it's okay.
Yeah, I know. You're just being a troll. I know.
No, they let me say that. I said, is Jew okay? And they're like, what? It's fine.
I don't care if you say fucking Jew.
That was the Jew doctor I told you about. My Jew doctor.
Imagine if Russia had to provide aid to Ukraine. I mean, it is sort of a different situation, though. I mean, I agree with what you're trying to say, but also, Ukraine isn't, blockaded completely either. So, I've seen way more Israelis open to his two-state solution. I mean, I think I have too, but I didn't want to go down that road. I think that's the best I can find. I swear there was a whole ass X thread, but that website is hell and I hate navigating it. Isn't that the fucking truth? Let's see. Macron, two-state solution proposal. Let's see if we can find something. Turn on dark mode. Where's me dark mode? Did you send a big link? I cannot see your big link. Van Kirk, have you joined the Discord? You should join the Discord, and then you can post it in there in the stream topics section. It's in my bio, but I can also pin it. Let me see. But I think this whole religion shit is fucking wild. At what point do you go, okay, you know what, getting our shit blown up constantly just ain't it? Like, bro, your God ain't showing up for your people anyways, so just that shit and take the bag and walk away. I mean, like, yeah, that's a very rational point of view, but people who are
Nah, man.
extremely religious are not going to be thinking rationally about it.
I mean, if
Well,
I've
should I
been
look
there
up
for
Israel?
like ever, like, nah, man.
You
Fuck
look up
you.
Israel. I mean, like, you don't have to jump in like the voice chat or anything, buddy. You can just post it, you know. Israel,
You guys
Palestinian
just don't get
territory.
it.
What?
You guys just don't get it. It's there. I'm told you. There's
I
no
know.
solution
I'm
to this.
saying, like, those people,
Like this,
like people who are
this,
ultra religious are not thinking rationally. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's
Control
also,
C.
yeah, it's cultural identity. It's lots of history.
That's okay. Celebrate
Look,
your
it's not
6
my,
month.
that's just where it happens to be.
6 months for Casper. Oh, that's a new. That's a new badge. Look at that. Congrats, Casper. Claps for Casper. Sorry, what did you say, Victoria?
I don't remember.
Oh, that's what I.
Probably
Yes, you
making
do.
fun of somebody or thinking about Jews. No, I'm kidding.
It looks
No,
like it
oh
was
yeah,
just
the
a.
Holy Land and such. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck to do with all that. Like, fuck
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. Being
And then it
semi-sarcastic
turns
with it, but in a
into
logical
well,
sense, I
yeah,
mean, yeah.
everybody murdered you, and then there was other times, and blah 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 blah. We've
Bro,
heard. I
like,
don't
all of you in
know.
chat who, like, don't know, like, yeah, I'm ethnically, culturally Jewish, right? Like, I feel a strong connection to my heritage. I'm not religious. I'm an atheist. So, like, I don't believe in any of
Yeah, I
that
know. That's
stuff.
why it's annoying because he's
Yeah.
like trying to play politician about it, and he's just like, yo, whoa, who's here? Hold on,
Mm-hmm.
1 second.
Oh, let me... Okay, cool. Yep. Claps for Casper. Like, nah, we must not be doing enough damage. Gotta blow up more cities for Allah. Then he will help us. Yeah, I know. Raid more port towns for whatever God. Also picks for the rim. True. True, true. True. Yeah. It's fuckered, bro. It's fuckered up. It's a big problem. Oh, God. Position on IP that I'm too dumb to know the answer and someone smarter than me will get there or not. Not is the probable answer because nobody has figured it out. To this day. Yep. But I'm an optimist, so I hope it'll get solved someday. Truly. Now I see a path there, but you know both sides are going to have to give up on things that they don't want to, and that's a tough pill to swallow. Tiny's idea of locking him in a room out. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's an interesting one. No one's ever gonna do it though. No one's gonna risk it. I think I'm gonna win both my fantasy matchups. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Oh boy, here we go. What you got, blue collared? Hey, what up, Cryptic? You just asked ChatGPT? Oh my god, why didn't I think of that? Holy shit. There's no way to phrase this well. Palestinians need to start caring about their children's future. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like what do they want? Do they want it or not? Is the question. They don't seem to care that much at all. And that's shitty and sad, and it means shit's gonna keep happening. And the other countries keep pushing them along and pushing them along and not, like Iran enabled so much. At some point they'll realize they aren't winning, right? They don't care. They like losing because the international community keeps telling them, keeps reinforcing the behavior. Like, as long as their behavior keeps getting reinforced by the international community, it's going to continue. Yeah, are you winning, son? I'll never get why nobody's asking why Hamas won't just release the hostages with the international pressure on Israel already being what it is. Because Hamas, on several occasions, has made it clear that they prefer that the war continues because Palestinians getting killed helps their cause. So, like, and like, the way the international community responds, they're right. It does. And so, like, what are you going to expect them to do? They don't really care about Palestinian lives. They've said it over and over again, right? They're martyrs, right? So it doesn't change anything for them. Can't reason with the Hamas, so they only try to vilify Israel. Mars is such a disgusting term. Nah. I get why Hamas doesn't want to do it. I just don't get how people aren't connecting the dots there when they grift about this shit online. Be a little more specific, blue collared. Who are you talking about? Like people out there condemning Israel, how don't they see that they ought to be putting that same energy into the release of the hostages and how that would benefit the people of Gaza? Because they don't care about benefiting the people of Gaza, right? They're rage farming. They want to be angry. People think about this conflict in a very basic emotional way. And so they're not thinking one or two or three or four steps ahead. They're thinking in the emotional moment that they're having. Right? It's like they want justice for what they see, what they believe to be justice. They don't want solutions. Cognitive dissonance there is what leads me to assume these people truly are just doing it for the self-aggrandizement, or like a sense of like I want justice, not solutions, right? Anyway. Oh, is this the full one? Let me see. Was it the CBS one that everybody's talking about? I thought it was Hannity. What's the one that everybody's talking about? Surface level emotive understanding of the conflict. Yeah, but that's how people react nowadays. That's where people fucking live. That's where they are in their brains nowadays. How do we fix it? We have to unscramble people's fucking minds. We have to fix social media. That's the only way. Like, everything is about the algorithms. Everything you see every day is designed to make you feel a certain type of way. And it's designed to make you feel rather than process. So, like, what do we have to do? We have to fix the way that our brains work, essentially, or make it so that you can't constantly be using those algorithms to continually compound the issue of you know people's fucking dopamine loops and using that for rage bait farming. How do I reason with someone that can only see one side? So this is going to trigger the fuck out of Cosmic. He's going to hate this so much because it's not rational. You can't appeal to someone whose position is irrational with like a rational, logical point of view. You have to use like empathetic points of view, right? You have to describe things from a perspective that allows them to feel things rather than think them, because they are stuck in their feelings. And then once you break through that barrier and they allow themselves to maybe open their minds a little bit, then you can start talking about the logical positions. But if they are not willing to go to those logical positions, like logical positions are just going to sound like, oh, you're just trying to make excuses to somebody who's feeling about things very emotionally, who's seeing things very emotionally. So you just have to reach them on that level first, and then you can start getting into more rational positions on things. Shit is bleak. We're entering the real bad times. Brake lines are cut. We're not going to turn away from the wall. We're about to be doing a lot of reaping what's been sowed. Yeah, I know, dude. I know. Fight Club really is the answer. True. Thank you, Barcode. All right. So, which interview is the Barrett interview that everyone's been talking about? Is it the CBS Sunday Morning? I think it is, because that was a day ago, right? I'm going to change the title because I thought it was Hannity. I'm just going to make it Barrett interview. Okay. So then we agree, actually. Gotta hit them where they feel. Exactly. And I have found some success in conversations one-on-one with people by using that method, right? Sort of setting up like thought experiments that allow somebody to like empathetically put themselves in the point of view of like an Israeli or somebody else, or in some of these other points of view. And that does make some progress. And then I can go into like the more rational discussions, but at the same time, like when you're having the more rational discussion, right, you always kind of every once in a while want to ground yourself back in the emotion or the empathetic positions, because if you keep going rational, they'll be like, okay, no, I'm falling back into okay, these people dying, and you're talking about it like it's numbers, right? It's a delicate balance. Very delicate. But yeah, is it the CBS Sunday morning interview? Cosmic, is that, do you know, is that the one, that the Barrett interview that everyone's talking about? It's difficult because many people are closed, whether subconsciously or not, to have their ideas changed, and not just that. People also have issues in correcting people's ideas in a way that doesn't come off condescending. Yeah, that's why that empathy is so important, right? You have to start from a position of like, I completely understand like where your feelings are coming from. I don't like to see people die either. It fucking tears me up inside. Full stop. One of the things that I think is really important, and this might seem like a tiny little fucking detail, right? This might seem stupid, but it does make a difference. You say that part and you don't add a but. It seems like a one-word thing that's dumb, but like, if you just say that sentence, let it sit, and then continue on without adding a but, that actually makes a big difference than if you're adding a but in between there. Okay, it is. It is the CBS one. Cool. So we'll watch that in a second.
And over.
Yeah, I've found people take your empathy way more seriously and way more to heart if you're not couching it with something else. If you're just saying it like straight on. Learn this with apologies. Even if you're right in what you're trying to excuse, just saying sorry without couching it or justifying it can make all the difference. Absolutely. Like really taking ownership of the thing that you're trying to say, not trying to like add an excuse or another point of view. Like people, you know, that sits with people. It doesn't just like sound like you're like, oh yeah, I don't want to see people die, but right, like that's how it'll come off, even if you sound very sincere. And then, you know, you'll get a jank, you monster, right? And like, you know, and that's the thing is, it's like, it's not like we don't mean it, right? Like, I don't want to see fucking people die. That's a real thing that I feel. And like, it's important for people to understand that when I'm talking to them about it. This is better. Okay. Why don't we watch that first, because it's shorter. That looks interesting. But yeah, that kind of shit makes a difference. People appreciate that.
In 2020.
It's sincere, right? That's really what it is it comes off as way more sincere if you're not couching it. Anyway.
2020, the restoration of one of the most important masterpieces of Western art came to light, and the reaction was immediate. The newly revealed face looked like a...
Well, this person you're talking to is really good faith. I'm not sure. I think sometimes even if they're being bad faith, you can make ground. Because if you're not going to make ground anyway, you might as well try. You don't lose anything by being honest about the way you feel about something. Right? Like, what are you losing? Because you're not giving anything to them by saying, like, you know, I don't want to see people die. How's that giving something to them? It's not like they're winning something. Don't worry, Casper. You don't need any context for this one. No! This is just about restoring art, and it's 11 and a half minutes, Casper. 11 and a half minutes. Don't do that. The title is The Art Restoration That Shocked the World, Casper. Ooh, that could be interesting too. Oh shit, that's long. Okay. No, I was teasing you. I was just teasing you. Don't get mad. I was just teasing. I wasn't being serious. Casper. Come on. What's up, Sleepy? Alright, I'm just going to play it. It's going to be interesting. It's very interesting, Casper. You'll like it, I promise.
In 2020, the restoration of one of the most important masterpieces of Western art came to light, and the reaction was immediate. The newly revealed face looked like a mix between a cartoon and an unsettling stare that no one expected to find in a 15th century painting. It went viral within
I'm gonna
hours,
have to quit.
and this wasn't just any painting.
It's gonna have,
We're talking about the Ghent altarpiece,
it's
a
gonna
sacred
have fucking,
work that had survived wars,
again,
theft, and centuries of history. Until a restoration came along that, for many, ruined everything. But what if I told you that the part everyone found so disturbing was actually what the artist originally painted? In this video, we're going to uncover what really happened, how a well-intentioned restoration turned into one of the biggest controversies in the art world, and, most importantly, what this tells us about how we look at works from the past. Because maybe the problem wasn't the restoration, but what we expected to see. To begin, we need to understand the painting we're talking about. This masterpiece is so massive, it feels like an altar in itself, made up of 12 panels that open like a sacred book. Every part is packed with tiny details, radiant figures, impossible landscapes, and symbolism everywhere. That's the Ghent altarpiece. It was completed in 1432 and is considered one of the first great works of the Northern Renaissance. It was painted by the brothers Huber and Jan van Eyck, although, fairly speaking, most of the credit goes to Jan.
Welcome.
Huber likely designed the overall structure, and Jan brought it to perfection. And yes, it's the same Van Eyck family that revolutionized the oil painting. Before them, artists mostly worked with tempera or fresco. After them, everything changed. Today, this artwork remains in the place where it was originally conceived, St. Bavo's Cathedral in the Belgian city of Ghent. Not in a museum under bulletproof glass, but in an active church where it still holds spiritual significance. And why is it so important? Well, for many reasons. First, the technique. Van Eyck achieved a level of detail that simply hadn't been seen before. Fabrics, metallic reflections, human skin, everything looked real. So real, in fact, that for centuries people believed he must have used some kind of optical trick. Second, the use of light and color. At a time when painting was still mostly symbolic rather than naturalistic, he painted how light bounced off surfaces, sunbeams pouring through a window, the gleam on armor, the dampness of the landscape, things others hadn't yet figured out how to portray. And third, its theological composition. The altarpiece isn't just visually stunning, it's deeply meaningful. Each panel tells part of a greater story. The redemption of humanity through the sacrifice of Christ, represented by the mystic lamb. Everything in this work is designed to move you, whether you're a believer or not. So when we say that a restoration touched this painting, we're not talking about just any artwork. We're talking about one of the most influential pieces in Western art. Quite literally, a cornerstone of modern painting. And now, let's step into the painting itself. Because the Ghent altarpiece isn't just
Mario
a single
64
image,
style.
it's two completely different experiences.
Stepping into
One
the
when it's
painting.
closed, and another when it's opened. And I promise you, the contrast is striking. When it's closed, we see 4 figures at the top. 2 Old Testament prophets, Zechariah and Micah, and 2 sibyls, pagan women who, according to tradition, also foretold the coming of Christ. We know who they are because their names are carved into the bottom edge of each panel.
I
Just
hear he
below
came
them,
pretty
across
hard.
4 panels, is the Annunciation.
My
On
dude
one
comes
side, the
buckets.
Archangel Gabriel, on the other, the Virgin Mary with a white dove above her representing the Holy Spirit. They're inside a Flemish home with wooden furniture, cloths, a picture, details that seem pulled from real life. The scene is full of symbolism, the closed room, the open book, the still atmosphere, but that deserves a whole video of its own. On the lower register, we find the donors who commissioned the piece, Jus Weid and his wife Elizabeth Borlut. They're kneeling in prayer, and beside them are their patron saints, John the Baptist and John the Evangelist. These saints are painted in grisaille in a style that mimics sculpted marble. It's as if they're guarding the threshold to something far greater, because when the altarpiece opens, everything changes. The scene transforms
shrooms
into
aren't
a
really gonna
luminous
do that for
cosmic
ya.
vision,
Oh, come
bursting
on.
with detail. On the upper interior level, at the center, sits
so
a majestic
unstable.
figure, God the Father, or Christ in majesty, depending on interpretation, enthroned, wearing a triple crown and papal robes. To his left is the Virgin Mary, to his right, John the Baptist. Together they form what's known as a deesis, a traditional image where Christ
to
serves as the
validate.
judge,
Great.
flanked by intercessors pleading for humanity. Flanking them are choirs of angels. Some are singing, others play musical instruments like lutes and organs, but they're not there
'Cause
for
I talk
decoration.
shit?
These angels form a divine concert, rendered with such precision it almost feels three-dimensional. At the far edges of this upper row, we see Adam and Eve, completely nude, each in their own panel. They're portrayed
boobies.
with such raw physical realism that it's hard to forget this painting once hung in a church. They are a constant reminder of original sin and the reason we need redemption, and that redemption takes place just below. At the center of the lower register is the most important scene of the altarpiece, the adoration of the mystic lamb. In the heart of the landscape, a white lamb stands atop an altar. Blood flows from its chest into a golden chalice. Above it hovers a dove, the Holy Spirit, and the light radiating from this moment turns the entire scene into a cosmic mass. It's not a sorrowful sacrifice, it's an act of glory. Surrounding the lamb,
Wallahi,
pilgrims
bro, I'm
arrive
not
from
a-
every
I'm not
direction.
This
There are
is
martyrs
true.
holding palms, virgins, prophets, apostles, popes, hermits, knights, even pagan figures like philosophers and judges, representing the righteous from the non-Christian world. It's as if all of humanity, past, present, and future, has gathered to witness this event. In the background, a radiant city gleams between green hills. It is the New Jerusalem, symbol of paradise. In front of it, a fountain spills clear water, and inscribed above it are the words, Hic est fons aquae vitae. This is the fountain of living water. Every corner of the altarpiece has something to say. There is no character placed there by chance. Everything has a purpose, a message, a meaning. And at the very center of it all, that lamb, alive, looking straight at you. And that was precisely the heart of the restoration controversy we're about to discuss. But before we dive into the most controversial part of this story, let me remind you that you can now have this painting in your home. This one and over 600 other masterpieces from art history are available right now on our website. Shipping is free worldwide.
Oh, how
and by
wonderful
purchasing
for you.
from our store, you're not only collecting a piece of art for life, you're also directly supporting this channel so we can keep making more videos like this one. I'll leave the link in the description. Now then, let's continue. In 2020, the world turned its eyes back to the Ghent altarpiece, not because of a new exhibition or a theft, as has happened before, but because of a
So,
restoration.
Morocco like to
A
say
restoration that
something's
promised
not
to
a lie, you
return the
just gotta
work
say,
to the state
"How do we
originally
feel about
conceived
this?"
by the Van Eyck brothers in the 15th century. The project was led by Belgium's Royal Institute for Cultural Heritage. It was an extremely delicate intervention, not only because the painting is enormous with over 20 panels, but because it was covered in centuries worth of varnish, repainting, and touch-ups. The
We'll
goal
see.
was clear,
I'll
to
play it in a
reveal the
second.
original version, to show what Van Eyck actually painted, not what
Really sit
later
here, mate.
artists added in attempts to correct
Okay,
or protect
cool.
the work. To do this, they used the best modern technology available: X-rays, infrared light, multispectral scans, and an extremely precise chemical cleaning. Every layer was documented, every line was compared against historical records and high-resolution imaging. And what did they find? A true hidden layer, literally. They discovered that several parts of the painting had been repainted during the 16th and 17th centuries. Some of these changes were minor aesthetic tweaks, others were complete reinterpretations. Among them, the most significant, the face of the lamb. That face, seen and accepted by generations, wasn't the original. It was covering another face, painted by Van Eyck
weird.
himself. And
You can
that
kinda see
original
it.
would spark one of the most intense reactions the art world has seen in decades. For centuries, the central lamb in the scene had a serene expression. Its gaze was slightly averted. It had a calm, symbolic appearance, just as one might expect in a religious painting. But when the restorers removed the upper layers, another face emerged. This one had large, round, human-like eyes, its pupils wide open, staring straight at the viewer. The snout was shorter, the ears were in a different position, the expression was much more frontal, almost unsettling, and social media wasted no time reacting. The image went viral. Some compared it to the infamous Exe Homo of Borja. Others nicknamed it the humanoid lamb. There were jokes, outrage, but above all, confusion. How could they have given such a strange face to such a sacred figure? But here's the twist. That new face wasn't new at all. It was the original face, painted by Jan
You
van
already
Eyck
said that.
in
How is that a
1432,
twist?
covered up roughly a century later. At some point in the 16th century, someone, likely with the intention of protecting or adjusting the image, repainted the lamb's face, completely altering it. In fact, if you look at the
Sounds like something Dan Brown would write about in one of his books.
restoration version closely, you can see the lamb appeared to have 4 ears, 2 from the retouching and 2 from the original layer that perfectly matched Van Eyck's hidden face. So what the restorers did wasn't to invent anything. They revealed what had always been
You already
there,
said
and
that!
changes everything. Because
First
it
trailer
forces
for
us
Sonic
to
the
ask,
Hedgehog.
do we want to see art as it was originally created, even if it makes us uncomfortable? Or do we prefer the softened, altered version we've grown used to over time? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.
Daniel.
So right now we went from one of the most, and some people say the worst,
Exactly,
the most
Cosmic.
violent city.
Exactly.
Can you imagine our capital being the most violent city? But it was it was really bad, into a totally safe zone. It's called a safe zone city. There's no crime. They said crime's down 87%. I said, no. It's
I
more
don't
than
think he does.
87%. Virtually nothing. And much lesser things that take place in the home.
I
They
will
call
see it in my
crime. You know, they'll do
dreams.
anything they can to find something. If a man has a little fight with the wife, they say this was a crime. See, so now I can't claim 100%. But we are a safe city. You can walk to a restaurant. You can walk to the White House if you work there. You can walk to the take place in the home. They call crime. You know, they'll do anything.
Whoa.
Virtually nothing, and much lesser things that take place in the home. They call crime. You know, they'll do anything they can to find something. If a man has a little fight with the wife, they say this was a crime. See, so now I can't claim 100%. But we are a safe city. You can walk to a restaurant. You can walk to the White House.
Uncomfortable laughter from the crowd. Oh my God.
Work there. You can walk to the Capitol, and even the Democrats say, I can't believe it, but they don't want to admit it. But I can't believe it.
Oh boy. Well, I was gonna do the that Jeffrey Epstein story conversation from P.F. Young. You're reading Kavanaugh's opinion later. Should I look at it? I don't know if I was gonna read the whole opinion. I was just gonna talk about it, but I thought it was just a stay. Okay. Prime Kai Pisco debate. Oh no. Prime is a fucking idiot, dude. But Pisco's a piece of shit now. So, like, you know, like a high schooler wrote it. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. I thought it was just a stay, though. I didn't think it was like a whole opinion. A bit haphazard. 11 pages? Oh, boy. Just granted. Oh, jeez. As timely such, certiorari be denied. This stay shall terminate automatically in the event certiorari is granted. This stay shall terminate upon the sending down of the judgment of this court. Justice Kavanaugh concurring the grant of the application for stay. I vote to grant the government's application for an interim stay pending appeal of the district court's injunction. The Immigration and Nationality Act authorizes immigration officers to interrogate any alien or person believed to be an alien as to his right to be or to remain in the United States, may briefly detain an individual for questioning if they have a reasonable suspicion based on specific articulable facts. Person being questioned is an alien illegally in the United States. This is so dangerously close to profiling. No? Am I tripping? Yeah, but some of these people have been here for like 20, 30 years, dog. Many millions illegally entered or illegally overstayed in just the last few years. Many millions. Don't have an accurate number. Do you? Fucking Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh? I know. Well, yeah. Yeah. Illegal immigration is especially pronounced in the Los Angeles area. Yeah, I know. They're everywhere, bro. Oh, my God. Among other locales in the United States, about 10% of the people in the Los Angeles region are illegally in the United States, meaning about 2 million illegal immigrants out of a total population of 20 million. And every single one that I have met has been a wonderful and lovely person. Obviously, that's anecdotal, but that's been my experience so far. Prime Kai was like listening to Leo. Pisco finally activated the Apple AirTag and found his huevos. Partway through the debate, oh, that actually sounds really fucking good. I mean, not good. It sounds awful, but it sounds like it's entertaining. Surprisingly, given those extraordinary numbers, U.S. immigration officers prioritize immigration enforcement in the Los Angeles area. The government sometimes make brief investigative stops to check the immigration status of those who gather in locations where people are hired for day jobs, who work or appear to work in jobs such as construction, landscaping, agriculture, or car washes that often do not require paperwork and are therefore attractive to illegal immigrants and who do not speak much, if any, English. If the officers learn that the individual they stopped is a U.S. citizen or otherwise lawfully in the United States, they promptly let the individual go. Oh, yeah? Is that how it's been working? If the individual is illegally in the United States, the officers may arrest the individual and initiate the process for removal. Immigration stops based on reasonable suspicion of illegal presence. Does he define what constitutes reasonable suspicion here? Or does he just assume that we're using, like, an established definition? Of illegal presence have been an important component of the U.S. immigration enforcement for decades across several presidential administrations. In this case, however, the district court enjoined U.S. immigration officers from making investigative stops in the Los Angeles area when the stops are based on the following factors or combination of factors. Presence at particular locations such as bus stops, car washes, day labor pickup sites, agricultural sites, and the like. Type of work one does. Speaking Spanish or speaking English with an accent and apparent race or ethnicity. Yo! Yo! You just fucking said it! He literally just said it! Pisco v. Prime K was so annoying. Prime K is the most insufferable. Because he is an insufferable virtue signaler. Dude, Prime has been around for years and years and years, and he's been an idiot for a really long time. At least Hassan is clearly making so much money off of it. Prime was doing it for the love of the game. I know, he's a fucking moron. It's inside the realm of possibility. I've seen files on pages blank. Yeah. Commitment. Dude, like, I was
waiting for you to read.
I
First
hope.
paragraph on page 3.
Yeah, I hope that this continues, and he says, "Well, for profiling, racial profiling, you can't do that, but the other stuff is fine." I really hope that's what's in here, because holy fuckballs, dog. Holy shit.
Do they know that illegal immigrants means more than just Mexicans?
No.
like do they know this?
Apparently
Like
not.
LA's huge, and there's a whole lot of people in LA.
Well, they did just do that raid on the Hyundai factory and like arrested a bunch of South Koreans who were here illegally.
But they're not brown though, so why would they raid that if supposedly, according to this, presence at particular locations as in bus stops, car washes, day laborer pickup sites, agriculture sites?
I don't know. They might have gotten tipped off or something. I don't know.
How does that fit into their little profiling situation?
Prime was the one who said even if he had a button to swap out Kamala right now and he could save 20k Gazan lives, he wouldn't. Wait, Daniel, you're going to have to give me more than just that sentence.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. That is a sentence, Daniel.
Wait, was this in the Pisco Prime thing? Because, yeah, we're definitely watching this. Government contends that the injunction will substantially hamper its efforts to enforce the immigration laws in the Los Angeles area. Government has therefore asked this court to stay the district court's injunction. I mean, like, okay, fine. Like, this is okay. To obtain a stay from this court, the moving party must demonstrate a fair prospect that if the district court's decision were affirmed on appeal, this court would grant certiorari and reverse. The moving party also must show a likelihood that it would suffer irreparable harm if a stay were not granted. Those two factors are the most critical, particularly in close cases. The court also considers the balance of harms and equities to the parties, including of the public interest. Yes. Okay, then we're definitely watching that. I work with several immigrant workers, mainly from Mexico, here in the agri sector. And we love them. They love being here, but I will say it's hard watching the way they live. No matter how good it is, they still definitely get treated like slaves, just slaves with slightly more rights, even so here in the Great White North, yeah. If we take a drink every time Prime says shitlib, we might get absolutely blackout shitface. You guys are welcome to play that drinking game. I will sip my sugar-free Monster or my water. In my view, the government has made a sufficient showing to obtain a stay pending appeal. To begin with, given the significance of the issue to the government's immigration enforcement efforts, this court would likely grant certiorari. What is certiorari? I'm a fucking retard. Okay. A writ or order by which a higher court reviews a decision of a lower court. Cool. In addition, on two alternative grounds, the government has demonstrated a fair prospect of reversal of the district court's injunction. Another court's decision in Los Angeles versus Leon's plaintiff likely lack Article 3 standing to seek a broad injunction restricting immigration officers from making these investigative stops. You're not retarding for not being privy to every Latin-derived legal term, my guy. I know. In Leon's, the court held that standing to obtain future injunctive relief does not exist merely because plaintiffs experience past harm and fear its recurrence. What matters is the reality of the threat of repeated injury, not subjected apprehensions. It's just not seem incredibly juvenile. I wasn't writing essays this bad in high school. Yeah, I mean, it does seem a little rushed, I guess. Like, generally, I guess I'm used to more thoughtfully worded things. I don't know. Plaintiff standing theory largely tracks the theory. Ooh, he said. Ooh, that's just bad. Well, yeah. I mean, like he said specifically. He said. In my view, the government has made sufficient showing to obtain a stay of pending appeal. That's a little weak for something like this. I feel like there are some things in here that are like okay, like saying, for example, the government contends that the injunction will substantially hamper its efforts to enforce the immigration laws in the Los Angeles area. Government has therefore asked this court to stay the district courts of injunction. That is a good argument in favor of their position, right? Because the status quo says they can enforce it. If they're granting a stay, it makes sense that they would preserve the so-called status quo in that situation while the issue is being litigated. So from like just that, like that's a decent position to hold. Is there closer to 1 million illegal immigrants in LA, not the 2 million Kavanaugh said? I've never looked it up. Let me see. Yeah, it's closer to 1 million. Largely tracks theory rejected in Leon's. Yeah, just under 1 million. Like in Leon's, plaintiff here alleged they were the subject of unlawful law enforcement actions in the past, namely being stopped for immigration questioning allegedly without reasonable suspicion of unlawful presence. And like in Leon's, plaintiffs seek a forward-looking injunction to enjoin law enforcement from stopping them without reasonable suspicion in the future. But like in Leon's, plaintiffs have no good basis to believe that law enforcement will unlawfully stop them in the future based on the prohibited factors. Certainly no good basis for believing that any stop of the plaintiffs is imminent. Therefore, they lack Article 3 subject to unlawful law enforcement actions in the past, namely being stopped for immigration questioning allegedly without reasonable suspicion of unlawful presence. Leon plaintiffs seek a forward-looking injunction. Okay, but like in Leon's, plaintiffs have no good basis to believe that law enforcement will unlawfully stop them in the future based on the prohibited factors? What? If they've been stopped unlawfully before, or if other people have been stopped unlawfully, then they do have a good basis for that belief. And no good basis for believing that any stop of the plaintiffs is imminent? How? What do you mean? They've been showing up to all of these places. What? Wait, what? Based on what? You're not explaining why. That's you're just stating it. That doesn't make any sense. They lack Article 3 standing absent a sufficient likelihood that the plaintiffs will again be wronged in a similar way. It doesn't. They're no more entitled to an injunction than any other citizen of Los Angeles. And a federal court may not entertain a claim by any or all the citizens who no more than assert that certain practices of law enforcement officers are unconstitutional. Plaintiff standing theory is especially deficient in this case because immigration officers also use their experience to stop suspected illegal immigrants based on a variety of factors. You mean the fucking ICE that's hiring all of these fucking people now because they can't get enough people to work for them? People who have no experience? Where are you getting this idea from? So even if the government had a policy of making stops based on the factors prohibited by the district court, immigration officers might not rely only on those factors if and when they stop plaintiffs in the future. Second, even if the plaintiffs has standing, the government has a fair prospect of succeeding on the Fourth Amendment issue. Okay, but then you should litigate that Fourth Amendment issue instead of including it in here. To stop an individual for brief questioning, like you did with the fucking nationwide injunctions shit. Kavanaugh saw that South Park episode, was like, yes, I like this unironically. Please kill Crypto and Superdog, guys. To stop an individual for brief questioning about immigration status, the government must have reasonable suspicion that the individual is illegally present in the United States, okay? Reasonable suspicion is a lesser requirement than probable cause, and considerably short of the preponderance of the evidence standard. That is true. Whether an officer has reasonable suspicion depends on the totality of the circumstances. Yes. Here, those circumstances include that there is an extremely high number and percentage of illegal immigrants in the Los... That does not count. That is not fucking reasonable suspicion. So now if you live in a city, they get to pull you over because there's illegal people in the city? What the fuck is that, dude? Yeah, that is high school. That is high school level fucking shit. That those individuals tend to gather in certain locations to seek daily work. That's, I don't like it, but that is more acceptable to me. Yeah, exactly, blue collar. What a fucking retard take. That those individuals often work in certain kinds of jobs. Technically better than this one. And technically not racial profiling. Yeah. Not require paperwork, therefore especially attractive to illegal immigrants. That's reasonable. And that many of those illegally in the Los Angeles area come from Mexico, Central America, do not speak much English. There we go. There's your racial profiling. To be clear, apparent ethnicity alone cannot furnish reasonable position. What? You just said it could. You just said it could as long as it's in Los Angeles. Ugh. That's so frustrating, bro. So then why did you say this? Why? Why? Alone? It's not alone because it's in Los Angeles. Oh. So if you speak Spanish and look Mexican in Los Angeles, then it's reasonable suspicion. My fucking bad. Oh. God forbid you're a fucking Mexican in Los Angeles. Oh no. Under this court's case law regarding immigration stops, however, it can be a relevant factor when considering along with other salient factors. Bro! So literally all they have to do is be like, oh, he spoke Spanish and looked Mexican in Los Angeles. I can detain this fucking person. And if they try to say, fuck you, you have no right to detain me, what, is that going to be seen as, like, resisting? Under this court's precedents, not to mention common sense, these circumstances taken together can constitute at least reasonable suspicion of illegal presence in the United States. Importantly, reasonable suspicion means only that immigration officers may briefly stop the individual and inquire about immigration status. If the person is a U.S. citizen or otherwise lawfully in the United States, that individual will be free to go after the brief encounter. Only if the person is illegally in the United States may the stop lead to further immigration proceedings. What if they're a U.S. citizen and they're saying, you don't, fuck you. I don't want to stop. They're going to say, oh, because you're a Mexican Spanish speaker in the United States, oh, you don't get to go now. You have to provide your ID to us. And now we have the ability to arrest you if you don't comply. In short, given this court's proceedings, the government has demonstrated a fair prospect of success, both on standing and Fourth Amendment grounds. To conclude, otherwise, this court would likely have to overrule or significantly narrow two separate lines of precedence. This court has had no problem overruling precedents. Fucking lil gup. Line of cases with respect to standing in the Brignoni Ponce. Ooh, Aaron Jones touchdown. Sorry. Big time. Okay. Line of cases with respect to immigration stops based on reasonable suspicion. In this interim posture, plaintiffs have not made a persuasive argument for this court to overrule or narrow either line of precedent, much less both of them. The government has also demonstrated that it would likely suffer irreparable harm if the district court's injunction is not stayed. How does the government suffer irreparable harm, though? Like being prevented from carrying out the duty in Los Angeles in certain ways, I don't know if that constitutes irreparable harm. Let's see what they say. As the court has indicated, any time that the government is enjoined by a court from effectuating statutes enacted by representatives of So the irreparable harm is we just can't do the thing. Nothing beyond that. It's just we can't do the thing. So it is in this case, particularly given the millions of individuals illegally in the United States, the myriad of significant economic and social problems. Significant economic and social problems? You mean the hundreds of billions they contribute in tax dollars and the lower rate of crime they commit per capita than American citizens? Are you fucking kidding me, dog? Ah! And the government's efforts to prioritize stricter enforcement of the immigration laws enacted by Congress. Notably, moreover, the district court's injunction threatens contempt sanctions against immigration officers who make brief investigative stops later found by the court to violate the injunction. Are you kidding me? The irreparable harm here is that if they violate the injunction, they'll be held in contempt? No fucking shit, genius! Oh my god! The No Man's Sky music, yeah. Oh my god! Prospects of such after the fact judicial second guessing and contempt proceedings will eventually show lawful immigration of enforcement officers. Yeah, it's a stay! It's a stay! That behavior is supposed to be stayed until they rule on it. That's why it's there, you fucking retard! Ah! This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. This feels like when the Supreme Court stopped the recount in Florida in 2000 because it would paint a dark cloud over the legitimacy of the presidency of George W. Bush. And it's like, no duh, because he wouldn't be fucking president. On the two most critical factors, therefore, the government has demonstrated that a stay is warranted. I mean, sorry, that's what the injunction was for, not the stay. That's what the injunction was for. You have to rule on the merits if you're challenging the injunction. This argument that retroactively it's going to cause a problem, that's what an injunction is for, is to stop it in the meantime while they rule on it. Turning then to the balance of harms and equities, as with many other applications for interim relief to this court, the harms and equities may appear weighty on both sides. In those circumstances, Tavarro just, okay, at least he's recognizing that the harms are heavy on both sides. Borrow Justice Scalia's apt words from a different context, trying to determine whether one party's harms or equities outweigh another party's, can be akin to judging whether a particular line is longer than a particular rock is heavy. Moreover, in a case like this involving government action, balancing the harms and equities can become especially difficult and policy-laden. That is because a court must balance the harms to the regulated and negatively affected parties, not only against the harms to the government as an institution, but also against the harms to the third parties who otherwise would benefit from the challenged government action. In any event, the balance of harms and equities in this case tips in the favor of the government. The interests of individuals who are illegally in the country and avoiding being stopped by law enforcement for questioning is ultimately an interest in evading law. No, that's not true. That's not true. The Constitution applies to people who are here illegally, my dog. Due process applies to people who are here illegally, my dog. The court system applies. To be sure, I recognize and fully appreciate that many, not all but many, illegal immigrants come to the United States to escape poverty. Oh, here we go. Virtue signal. Here we go. And lack of freedom and opportunities in their home countries and to make better lives for themselves and their families. And I understand they may feel somewhat misled by the varying U.S. approaches to immigration enforcement over the last few decades. Fact remains that under the laws passed by Congress and the President, they are acting illegally by remaining in the United States. At least unless Congress and the President choose some other legislative approach to legalize some or all of these individuals now illegally present in the country, and by illegally immigrating into and remaining in the country, they are not only violating the immigration laws, but also jumping in front of those non-citizens who follow the rules and wait in line to immigrate into the United States through the legal immigration process. Dog, the legal immigration process is restrictively long and burdensome. And most people probably won't qualify after they even wait the amount of years that they have to. For those reasons, the interests of illegal immigrants in evading questioning and thus evading detection of their illegal presence are not particularly substantial as a legal matter. Moreover, as for stops of those individuals who are illegally in the country, the questioning in those circumstances is typically brief, and those individuals may probably go free. He's just excusing it. That's not how it works. It's not because it's a small inconvenience. That's not what these rights are for. That's not why these rights exist. How do you not understand this? Finally, although the dissent emphasizes the force allegedly used by immigration officers, that is not the issue in this case. The district court enjoined the government from stopping individuals for questioning based on several enumerated factors. The injunction is silent as to the use of force. It's not necessary for the injunction to address that use of force question because the Fourth Amendment's reasonableness standard continues to govern the officer's use of force and to prohibit excessive force. I mean, that's true. That's true. To the extent that excessive force has been used, the Fourth Amendment prohibits such action. Okay. Remedies should be available in federal court. I agree with the dissent on that point, but to reiterate, this injunction against brief stops for questioning does not address the use of force issue. In short, the balance of harms and equities favors the government here. I do not think you've made a strong case for that, especially in an immigration case like this one. It is also important to stress the proper role of the judiciary. The judiciary does not set immigration policy or decide enforcement priorities. It should come as no surprise that some administrations may be more laissez-faire in enforcing immigration law, and other administrations more strict. Article 3 judges may have views on which policy approach is better or fairer, but judges are not appointed to make those policy calls. We merely ensure in justiciable cases that executive branch acts within the confines of the Constitution and federal statutes. Just as this court a few years ago declined to step outside our constitutionally assigned role to improperly compel greater executive branch enforcement of the immigration laws, we now likewise must decline to step outside our constitutionally assigned role to improperly restrict reasonable executive branch enforcement of the immigration laws. But this is not restricting, dog. This is clear racial profiling. This is not about this isn't even really about the illegal immigrants. This is about the citizens that are getting racially profiled. Consistency and neutrality are hallmarks of good judges. This is not neutrality! And in my view... Oh, sorry, judicial neutrality. Okay. And in my view, we abide by those enduring judicial values in this case by granting the stay. In some, the government has demonstrated a fair prospect of success on the merits. It has met the other factors for an interim stay pending appeal of the district court's injunction. I therefore vote to grant the government's application. Fucking dog shit. Fucking dog shit. Can someone link me the Pisco Prime debate?
Brianna's blown up your spot. Brianna Loria says, "Uh-oh, don't ask Brianna if you voted for Kamala."
I didn't vote for Kamala. And
You didn't vote for Kamala?
I didn't vote for Kamala.
What's wrong with you?
My vote was not about who is better, a slightly lesser version of evil. Are you for genocide or against it? Have you cleared that bar?
Centrist left-wing candidates are in charge of the UK. The UK is going to recognize Palestinian statehood in September. Same thing with Canada, Mark Carney. You think that this wouldn't happen with America, that we wouldn't have had a materially, significantly, that lives would have been saved?
The candidate is not owed my vote. Can we agree on that?
I think the best candidate is ethically owed your vote. Yes, I do. We're not talking between 999 and 1,000. What we're talking about is orders of magnitude difference.
What kind of human being are you?
What kind of human being are you? No, you abandoned your country. You abandoned your country. You abandoned the Constitution. You didn't vote. You didn't vote. What are you doing? And now the people of Gaza are dying on your name, on your name.
This is why you are morally compromised.
I am. I'm the person who's trying to protect our country from Trump. Hey, folks, please like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure to check out my newsletter. Information is in the description. The notion that we are going to be in a situation where we can just make this kind of dark money, these capitalist interests, a non-factor, it's a fanciful notion. And right now, look at the big picture. Our country is being taken over by authoritarian fascists. We have, rule of law hanging on by a thread. And in that context, for us to be playing these games with each other, basically purity testing each other to the extent which we are not going to make common cause with capitalists who are anti-fascist, capitalists who want to stop Trump and who want to, that to me is such a wild notion that we wouldn't make common cause with such people. But you tell me your response.
So to be very clear, the people in chorus weren't making common cause, weren't being paid, weren't making common cause. We were employees of that group. That's what they were. That's what they were doing, right? So let's not confuse that relationship. If you, like you said, that group has the power to keep who they want in, filter who they want not to be in, and control people, especially if they were talking about small streamers who. I'm so sorry.
I'm looking beyond chorus. Right? Just the notion, because beyond, there's a philosophical underpinning to what you're saying, and the philosophical underpinning is accepting this money is in a way accepting there's some form the manipulations or influence of the capitalist land class, which is always going to prevent the real kind of reform that we need in this country. That seems to be the philosophical underpinning. And what I'm proposing to you is we need to make common cause with the anti-fascist capitalists, and that might mean taking their money, and that might mean collaborating with them towards a common end, because we can't implement the kind of social change you want if we're all under a fascist dictatorship.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree that power is what matters. And that you have to win elections, period, right? You can't implement your agenda without actually winning, right? I had a disagreement with a group of individuals on the left, specifically about this, who were anti-electoralism, right? Who didn't believe in bothering with elections at all. In fact, they thought it was wasted energy to do so. I completely reject that. We got to win, right?
But you stayed home, man. You stayed home.
First of all, I didn't stay home.
Okay, on the presidential, you metaphorically said
but not on presidential. We'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that. President, trust me, I want the smoke. So we'll do that in a second. Okay. So it's about winning, right? But when we're talking about unifying here, right? It's unifying in the direction of capital. That's how it always goes here. So we're going to unify in the direction of billionaires. Unify in the direction of individuals who have a certain policy agenda. And we have to. There's an emergency, right? And so let's put away our differences, right? And the only way to do that, only way to put away your differences, is to align with their message, right? Because that's where the money is, right? That's the infrastructure that we need. There's a power imbalance here, and so it always shifts. So the
donor class.
Corporate Democrats who are already in control of the DNC. When they're talking about unifying, they mean getting behind their party line. There's just no time. Medicare for all, at one point, we'll get to it in the future. Immigration, right? We'll get to it in the future, right? Obama said. And it never happens. And so at some point, we actually have to work out these differences. At some point, we have to think about what kind of party.
Yeah, but you can't do that when you're trying to win elections. You have to win elections and become a popular party before you can actually tackle those issues.
In the face of this emergency, I think that this emergency was caused by that wing of the party, right? The corporate wing of the party. They caused it. They brought us here, and they are the first ones to acquiesce, as liberals always have. Liberals have always acquiesced to fascism all throughout history. They are the handmaidens of fascism, right?
Here we
fucking for fascism
go.
The entire time. They'll push policies that actually don't address the issues of the people, which brings up resentment in the government, right? And then people make an alternative, right? An alternative choice for Germany, or alternative for Spain, or for the United States. They'll decide, hey, this isn't working anymore, because I look at the parties in power, and none of them actually address my concerns. I think that the left actually has the answer, right?
Well, what is going on?
I just think that you're not acknowledging some tangible wins that the American left has had in the past 30 years. And also I think that I don't necessarily agree with the history there, especially when the Communist Party legit had a doctrine here to push against, as hard as possible, the Comintern did, liberal policies as liberal fascists. And that's why there was, at least in the German context, collaboration, at least in the early days, between communists and Nazis against the SPD. But anyway, just putting that in history aside.
They presented themselves as National Socialists.
But in general, I mean, they were, as opposed to the social democrats, if not more so than the Nazis. I understand that they also fought against each other, and the communists were the first people targeted by under the new Nazi government. I'm not denying that, but I'm saying that I don't think it's so clear that the liberals were the first to.
I'll say this. I am making an oversimplification of history, obviously, right? I'm not like I haven't given you a whole full spectrum of what history looks like, but I still stand by the statement that
I'll just say in the Spanish Civil War context, there was America was selling arms to Franco. So there has been collaborations between liberal governments and fascist governments that happened in the past, but there's also been collaboration between communist governments and fascist governments. That was true between Russia and Soviet Union and Nazi Germany. That was true arguably between USSR and Japan. And so I just think it's a little bit simplistic here. But I'm not saying that you were making a totalized historical argument. But at least in this context, I think the left has seen some tangible wins in the Democratic Party. I mean, just look at where Joe Biden was moved domestically by Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Those were tangible moves that, Biden, you can say whatever you want, was the most domestically left-wing president that we have seen in our lifetime. Easy, bar none, no question about it. No question about it. And
like drawn, kicking and screaming to those positions. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree that the best part of the Biden presidency are the ones birthed by Sanders and Warren. 100%, right? The not the FTC. Well, the FTC, yes. FTC, yes, but also
Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the National Labor Relations Bureau. Yeah, there's a ton of great stuff here. But all I want to say is those are tangible wins that the left, to say nothing of, I think, the Inflation Reduction Act and some of the other the policies here, where they made an agenda item. The left has made the environmental protection an agenda item, have made protections on abuse by banks and financial institutions an agenda item. They have made labor and protection of unions an agenda item. They have made domestic production and fair trade, an agenda item.
But this doesn't go against my argument, right? Like, so I can acknowledge that the leftists, we'll just call them leftists. We'll put Warren and Sanders in that category for simplicity's sake, right? Leftists have had an impact on the Democratic Party. They've done the best things, right? They push for the best parts of the DNC agenda. But that doesn't change what I was saying, is that like the corporate wing has the party, right? Fights against the left at every point in time, undermines them at every opportunity. As we're seeing with Zoran Mondani right now, right this second, we're seeing that, where the DNC leadership doesn't want to even acknowledge that he exists, right? What will they do? They want to insult him, right? I
think particular politicians, I think the Democratic Party congratulated him right away. At least the Twitter account, the Democratic official Twitter account. Jerry Nadler endorsed Mondani. I want to say I endorsed Mondani early on, or at least before the mayor election happened. And so I don't think that it's been. I've been critical. Yeah, I've been critical of Jeffries. I've been critical of Schumer and people who have not endorsed. I've been critical of people like Josh Shapiro, who's kind of had these like weird little comments at him and other people as well. So I agree with you. They should endorse Mondani. And I've been, by the way, criticized by other members of my liberal circle for saying that and for calling it out. So I'm not saying that you are wrong in the sense that there are many people within the Democratic Party who are uncomfortable with Mondani. But I think that's people say the same thing. Like, look at the left; they're just trying to undermine our candidates. All they do is talk shit. I've heard this ad nauseum: is why would we care about the left? They really want to shit on our candidate. All they do is talk shit about our candidate. They don't acknowledge the difference between the Democratic candidate and the Republican candidate. And you're case in proof, aren't you? Because you didn't vote for Harris.
Yeah.
You didn't endorse Harris, and so why should I get to say endorse Mondani? Why do you get to say that?
You get to say endorse Mondani because you're a team player. Yeah, so I get to say that I'll endorse Mondani or anyone else, right? When they meet minimum standards, they have to meet minimum standards. There is a threshold for me, right? That a candidate must clear.
Your standards are going to be very different.
My standard, which I thought was extremely low, right, and extremely manageable, was to condemn the genocide. Was to take a hard, clear stance against the genocide. Joe Biden,
an issue that no Americans are realistically going to be voting on when Trump is president. They don't care.
Israel's glory, Israel's revenge, was worth more than anything else. Anything else. And so he let a genocide fester in his term, right? Only with the assumption that I guess he would figure something out in his next term, only to lose miserably, right? And also lying to the American public about his health. He was a disaster. He put us in this situation without a doubt. When Harris came in, right? I've had a whole history of Harris. I saw Harris when she was running for Senate, right? And I was excited for her because I thought she was an interesting candidate. And from all the things I had heard while she was in the Senate was amazing, I thought, right? Like when we got clips of her, she was like doing her prosecutor thing. She had people, have been summoned to Congress, and she was like tearing them apart. I'm like, this woman has something, right? I could not have been more wrong. Because then she ran for president, right? Very excited for her candidacy. She was a disaster. She started off strong, but all she had was like prepared lines that hit really well. And then she immediately backed away from any gains that she had, right? She said, hey, there was within the debate, they asked, hey, who here is for Medicare for all? She raises her hand. I raised her hand. Later on, when asked about it, she's like, oh, did they say Medicare for all? Oh, I must have misheard. No, I'm not for Medicare for all. She was in there. She did it for the immediate gain from the debate, right? From being watched by those people. Then later on, she can make a tiny correction. Oh, that's not actually where I stand. even her biggest line against Joe Biden with the school busing line. You remember what I'm talking about, right? Like I was that little girl, right? Later on, she was asked, "Oh, would you have ended school busing?" Well, yes, of course I would have. Yeah, I would have made the same choice, right? The same choice that I excoriated Joe Biden on. Remember when she did that line? She immediately, like minutes after the debate, had shirts ready. Like shirts branding around this I was that girl line. She did it for the audience, but then afterwards she immediately retreated because she actually stands for nothing. And anyway, she was the first one to drop out. She goes into the vice presidency, does nothing, right? Less than nothing, because actually Biden gives her all the shit assignments, right? She has to go to South America and tell Latin Americans, don't come, right? I'm sure you remember that moment as well. And then, Biden goes back on his clear message, his clear pre-election message that he was going to be a one-term president, right? He goes back, he lies about that. And tries to run again. It's a complete disaster. It's Kamala Harris's turn after he fumbles the ball. It also noted she only had 107 fucking days to do it, but I was excited about her. I'm like, okay, she had like 4 years. She had 4 years. I'm sure she must have been thinking hard about why she did so bad. I'm sure she must have like done something. I'm really excited. I wasn't going to vote for Biden because he's a pro-genocide war criminal, deserves to be in jail. But for Harris, I thought, well, I heard some like positive noises in this direction. I'm going to give her a chance. And then she made it extremely clear that the anti-genocide crowd was not welcome in her coalition. Extremely. I can give you advantages, but I've been talking a lot already. Sorry.
I want to say a couple things. So first off, is like I don't know why this is useful for you to go through the whole chronology here. Some of these are mistakes that I acknowledge, specifically Biden running again. I think that was a big mistake, and so there's some things that you say that perhaps I agree with, but some I certainly don't. I think that Biden has been the best president of our lifetime. I don't think you can point to a presidency that was better in terms of domestic policy for sure.
He's destroyed the Democratic Party. He's like laid it to waste now.
Oh, listen, I agree that his decision not to run again was disastrous, but I'm just saying in terms of domestic policy, in terms of domestic accomplishments.
I'm talking about in terms of the genocide. Sorry, I'm talking about in terms of the genocide that's happening right now.
I think it's cold comfort right now to the Palestinians right now. Do you think that they'd be better off with Kamala Harris in charge? No doubt they would.
It's not about. So my vote was not about who is better, a slightly lesser version of evil. It's, hey, are you for genocide or against it? Have you cleared that bar? I will not vote for a person who is pro-genocide.
Centrist left-wing candidates are in charge of the UK. The UK is going to recognize Palestinian statehood in September. Centrist Democrat in charge of France.
Yeah,
they're going to recognize Palestine as a state.
It's sort of been a general consensus on this one, Cosmic. Sorry. Everybody kind of wanted to watch this.
September. Centrist Democrat in charge of Australia. They're going to recognize Palestine as well. Same thing with Canada, Mark Carney. You think that this wouldn't happen with America, that we wouldn't have had a materially significally...
It's going to be retarded.
That lives would have been saved?
Your example of like centrist leadership is that a bunch of
I'm going to get all pissed off.
Won't give any material support. Instead, they'll make a resolution that'll make recognize Palestine as a state. Whether actually will or will be, and you're on this different matter or not, but they'll recognize it as a state.
That's been one of the major goals of the Palestinian pro-Palestinian movement.
Yes, but right now that doesn't stop the genocide. The first things that they will the first roadblocks that they will clear will always be the rhetorical ones, right?
What I'm suggesting to you is if you have someone who's more aligned, like if you had Keir Starmer in America, our position on Gaza would be fundamentally different than Trump who's deporting people because of the criticism.
I understand how you don't have to explain to me that Trump is a menace. I talk about how Trump is a menace all the goddamn time, right? I'm saying that I have standards. My standards weren't clear, right? It is not my fault that the candidate didn't clear those standards. The candidate is not owed my vote. Can we agree on that?
I don't know what you mean by that. I think the best candidate is ethically owed your vote. Yes, I do.
Oh, I've absolutely okay. Then that's a fundamental disagreement. Okay, that's important. That's a fundamental disagreement. No candidate is owed.
What do you mean by owed?
Right? They have to earn that.
What do you mean by owed?
Well, I mean the opposite of this, right? The opposite of earning a vote. I mean that.
If it crashes this time, I'm giving up on trying to play at this stream. Fuck it.
It's fine.
Because people will often say this. I'll have this conversation with Ryan Mullally where he's like, Kamala Harris is probably the better person, but she didn't earn my vote, or I'm not owed the vote. And like I just don't understand those terms. Like, what we mean by owed is like some kind of legal obligation. No. Okay, go for it.
Explain it. Okay, great. Thank you. I love you.
You said I was going to parse out every word. I do that.
I know. I got to come prepared, right? So anyway, as opposed to a candidate who earns your vote, who has a policy agenda that is based on like a viable coalition for their party, right? And who intends to follow through, at least convinces you that they'll follow through. I guess that's before the election. But who makes a convincing case that they will go through with a viable policy agenda. So that's a person who earns it, right? That's what campaigning should be. As opposed to saying that this individual, because there is some sort of greater threat, right? Because there's some sort of violence that will be put upon you otherwise, you need their vote. In fact, you should be guilt shamed for not voting for this individual because something bad has happened. Now it's your fault rather than saying it's the candidate's fault. The candidate didn't actually didn't do their job, didn't understand where the coalition was, the viable coalition, and didn't appeal to that. And so they lost. Kamala Harris did a bad job. Kamala Harris lost all the swing states. Kamala Harris lost the popular vote, right? Slash Joe Biden lost the popular vote. It's because of their policies of that, right? It's not incumbent upon the voters, right, to give them their votes in the hopes that I guess maybe they didn't mean it, right? If she's saying that, well, yes, she is going to continue the genocide, then it's not incumbent upon me to hope and pray for something better. No, you have to make that hard stance against it, right? And if you can't, in fact, I wasn't sorry, to be clear. Like, my rhetoric during the election was actually even much more forgiving than this, right? I'm like, okay, well, I can't expect her to be like a full pro Palestine like I am, right? That wasn't my expectation, to be very clear, right? It was simply to say, hey, maybe we won't pay for weapons, right? No more weapon shipments, right? Even no more quote unquote offensive weapon shipments. Would have been a massive upgrade from what Biden put forward. Nothing from her.
Yeah,
and again, she made it very clear that we weren't welcoming her coalition.
I'm sorry to do this. It's going to be real. I'm really sorry to do this. I just don't understand what you meant by owed. I still don't understand what you mean by owed. Like you say, you're trying to distinguish between who's preferable to vote for versus do they owe their vote. And I'm just like, so
sorry, what do you mean by owed?
Yeah, so I understand. So when I said you do owe her your vote, when I say owe, it's like you have an ethical obligation to vote for her. Now you might mean something different when you say owe. Maybe you mean a legal obligation. Maybe you mean something else. But like I understand owing in this context to be like I have an ethical obligation that I ought vote for Kamala Harris. But I don't understand owe as something different than that. What do you mean by owe?
We can use that. We can use that definition.
Okay.
I don't think we have an ethical obligation to vote for any particular candidate. That candidate should make their case to the people and get them to.
You don't think that
sign up.
you don't think that you would never have an ethical obligation to vote for a candidate?
No. Why would no? You don't have an ethical obligation.
Well, maybe if the outcomes like so,
I think you should.
So if the vote were between like Bernie Sanders and fucking Mussolini, you wouldn't have an ethical obligation to vote for Bernie
lecture on armor.
I think you have I think it's part of your civic duty. You should.
Fuck it.
What do you mean should? I understand should to be an ethical obligation. I don't understand should as something other than like. Okay. Right? Isn't should like so, saying that you should do something, so you have an ethical obligation?
Some people are saying you have to like restart your PC to get it to work, or try launching it, disconnecting the internet. I'll try to fix it later. But apparently this is like a huge issue for a lot of people right now. So you have to fucking wait till like there's a patch, and I don't think there's a patch now. God damn it, that's so annoying. I was enjoying this update.
Like this is as close to a mandate as you get, right? Without actually having the power of the law.
You ought to do it. Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Like, so it's.
So
So when I say something should happen, or it's an ethical obligation for someone to do something, I mean that they ought do it, that it ought be done. That's what I mean. Understand? So when I say you owe her your vote, what I mean to say is you have an ethical obligation to vote for her, meaning you ought vote for her, implying that she ought win. And I think if you grant that she ought win and that you ought vote for her, then
you're not
you
saying
owe her your vote.
Must. Okay, but I'm making a distinction between must and should. So you're not saying you must vote for her. You're saying you should vote for her.
I'm saying, if by must, I think that if you don't, you're doing something unethical. In which case, to be ethical, you must vote for her.
To be ethical,
unless you're like, I mean, the one exception would be like if you are a doctor and you're on emergency call that day and there's other things, but all else equal, you must vote for her.
For it to be ethical, she must clear an ethical standard. She didn't clear the ethical standard.
Well, regardless of what she clears, I'm saying you have the ethical obligation apart from her.
Let's do it this way. Let's try it another way, right? Okay, got candidate, Republican candidate and Democratic candidate, right? Republican candidate says promises they're going to publicly sexually assault 1,000 children, right? The Democratic candidate, they're going to publicly sexually assault 999 children, right? One is better than the other, right? Which one are you ethically obligated to vote for?
If you have two options, and if you only have two options, you are ethically obligated to do the less child rape. Don't you agree?
You're going to vote.
Wait. Sorry. If you agree that there's only two options, and one involves the rape of 1,000, and one involves the rape of 999.
Not only two options. Not only two options.
Okay. So then, but in the case where there's only two.
Are we really playing on technicalities, you fucking idiot?
Options. Would you agree that
there's not only two options?
In the case, if there were only two options,
there's not only two options.
I understand, but would you grant that if there were only two options, that it would be better? It would be more.
I don't grant that there. No, because that disguises like the point of this conversation.
It's hypothetical. But if they were, I'm just it's conditional. You're saying like, but
it doesn't make sense. But the hypothetical, your hypothetical doesn't make sense. No, think about this.
What do you mean it doesn't make sense?
What?
Well, the other option is to not vote. No, right? There is a third option.
So we'll get there. We'll definitely get there. But
we won't get there.
You won't even agree.
No, we won't get there.
You won't even agree.
Because it's not because your hypothetical isn't useful to it doesn't map on to our reality, right? It doesn't map on to.
I think
bro, this is so annoying because they're always just like la 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 la. They're just as bad as each other. La 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 la. Bro, like you're fucking fooling yourself if you think Kamala would have been as bad as Trump. It doesn't matter what you believe on any particular issue. If you are to the left of center, the idea that somehow Kamala is not going to be better than Trump is fucking retarded. And now you're just going to sit here with your fingers in your ears screaming blah, 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 blah. It would have been the same Fuck off, bro. Fuck off. What up, Thanos?
It would have been the same if we're not. Well, it would have been similar if we're not talking about domestic policy. But yeah, I kind of just
It
came
would
in
not
the
have
middle
been
of you talking
similar.
about
That is a
but
shit fucking position. I'm sorry. I'm
that's
tired of
exactly
hearing
what I.
people
That's
say
exactly
this.
what I was gonna say.
I mean,
That's
like,
exactly what I was gonna
oh,
say.
it is
That
what
you're
you were
right.
gonna
It's
say. Okay.
no, I was being when I said that they were. I was being very hyper specific when I
Okay.
said they were going to be similar in terms of. Even then, there would have been some noticeable differences, but like
Not
on
just
in
noticeable,
like
massive differences, bro. They're about to, like, Trump is like, let's turn the Gaza Strip into like a fucking Trump resort and property. Like, what world are we living in where these are even close to each other? It's not even close.
Right.
Like, these are not
I mean,
the
I
same
highly doubt that
worlds.
either one of them would have been hard on like their their settlement problem. But when it comes to domestic policy, you're 100 like they're light years away, like dead ass. Like who's saying that they're similar in terms of domestic policy? Because that's
Bro, no,
ridiculous.
stop it. It's not just domestic policy. It is foreign policy too. This idea that they're anywhere similar on Israel and Gaza is ridiculous. It's not even close. The only reason aid was getting into Gaza in the beginning of the war is because of Biden. And she was going to be even more open to the Palestinian issue than him. She wasn't going to be we have to come down fucking hard on Israel. But these people, anything less than that, and you're a fucking genocider. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So she would have been hard on Israel to be like, no, you got to let aid in.
Yeah, that's what Biden did.
That's what they both did.
Yeah.
And to be clear, when there was the offensive in Rafah, Biden and Harris were the ones who insisted that the Israeli government move the civilians out of the way first, evacuate them first before they went in there. And even though the Israeli government said, oh, that's not possible, they were hemming and hawing, they did it. They moved like 900,000 people in like, what was it, a week?
Yeah,
something like that, a week.
The idea that they're functionally the same is a fucking lie that far leftists use because they're pissed off that they're not getting their entire cake that they want to eat. It's either our way or you're a fucking genocider. This whole issue has turned people's brains into pure fucking rot, and nobody's able to think objectively about it. They literally would rather somebody 100 times worse for Palestine be in office because they're going to pretend like they're the same. They want to punish the Democrats, I guess, for not taking exactly their position on it. Which, by the way, wouldn't actually help resolve the issue because it's just going to piss Israel off even more. So, like...
didn't you... That's what the... I mean, I haven't looked this up, but didn't it was either you or Daniel that said that... like that's what the far lefties did in during the Weimar Republic, expecting Hitler to fuck things up so badly that
yes,
it
is exactly what they did.
Genocide.
Yeah, the German communists, they actually had an opportunity to form an alliance with the party called the SPD, which is still a party in Germany today. And they actually could have blocked Hitler and the Nazis coming to power. But if you look in the writings of the German communists, they thought Hitler and the Nazis coming to power was a good thing because it would cause people to become so upset, it would bring about a revolution of the proletariat.
And how did that go for them, by the way? Not fucking well.
Not going well for them, but like you guys have ancestors that felt the wrath of that pretty big whoopsie that the communists did, right?
The communists were political. They were political enemies of the Nazi party. I'm pretty sure plenty of them got fucking killed too.
Well, I mean, it was like, I mean, they were enemies when it was no longer convenient to be friends.
Yeah.
And so that's why if you go across all of Europe today, if you go across Central and Eastern Europe, you will not find a country, except if you look at the politicians, maybe in Slovakia and in Hungary. But the majority of the people there to this day hate the Soviet Union and what the Russians did because they teamed up with Germany.
It's just this kind of like all or nothing politics. It allows terrible fucking things to happen. And the idea that we're being righteous and doing the righteous thing by allowing those terrible things to happen is such fucking delusion. It drives me insane. I can't stand it. I can't. And like the excuses we hear are such just dog shit. It's like, yeah, but this, I have to stand on this issue. I have to stand on this issue. Great, you stood on this issue. Now look how much worse it is. Because you couldn't compromise.
Well, I think it's sort of like what Lonerbuff said. They're content to dance on Palestinian graves as long as it hurts Israel more.
And the mainstream Democratic Party. Anyway, Thanos, you should pull up the stream and watch this along with us.
What are you watching right now?
Debate between Pisco and Prime K's.
Between Pisco and who?
Prime K's.
Oh.
Or Prime Kai's.
I don't know who either of those are. I guess I'll find out.
Yep, it's rage-inducing. Enjoy.
How we vote?
I think it does.
So
but why don't we just agree on the base thing first? Why don't we agree on the base thing first?
We want to agree on that. Come on, 36% of voters, so 36% of eligible voters don't.
Fucking Pisco is smacking himself on the head with his water bottle already. Fucking Pisco is like, I can't believe this.
Vote, right? I have that wrong.
Okay, so
right?
it's basically
a third of eligible
in
voters.
terms of like rationally discussing ideas, pointless. But in terms of entertainment, it's funny, I guess. Is that what's going on?
It's setting me off, clearly. But also Pisco's kind of a fucking moron too sometimes. So even he's like, dude, this guy sucks. Which, like, by the way, I have said that this guy sucks many times in the past. I have thought that he sucked for a long time. And, like, he's just reinforcing it. He's been a debater for, like, a long time. I don't even know. Like, at least 5 or 6 years, probably. And, God, it's just, like, every take he has is pretty dog shit. Like, I don't know how every take he has. Like, I don't think I've ever heard him, like, make a really well thought out point. It's just copying talking points he probably heard from somebody else who was like, oh, I agree with these people. I'm just going to regurgitate the shit I have to say.
It kind of looks like Hassan with shorter hair and not as defined facial features on the left.
That's
Who's
Pisco. Yeah. That's Pisco.
Do you see that?
That's Pisco and this is Prime. Yeah, I guess I kind of see that, yeah. I never noticed that until you said it. Anyway, let's get to it.
Don't vote in our election? Is that not a thing?
I think they do. There's a sizable contingent of people who don't vote, yes.
There's a sizable... Okay, oh, so it sounds like there's another option there, correct? Sounds like another option.
Yeah, no, but I can explain, but why don't we just do the 2 and then we can move on to the 3 and the 4?
No.
Why don't you want to get clarity on it?
Yeah, true,
because
Van
the whole
Kirk.
point is, within a democracy, so like, I might have this wrong, and I might have facts wrong. So if I do, I apologize, right? But like within Australia, right, has mandatory quote-unquote mandatory voting. They're pretty loose with that. But for mandatory voting, you can pay to not vote. But still, let's assume that everyone does vote, right?
Okay.
I think there's like a no vote answer or like a write-in answer. Where you can put anything you want, which is effectively a no vote. Even in that option, there's in that system, there's another option. There isn't one like option A or option. You aren't forced to vote for one or the other.
We can't even agree on if there were 2. We can't even agree that.
No, because it's not useful. That's not a useful thing. Like, why don't we skip past like the
Why not just grant it and we can just move?
No, I grant nothing. I grant you nothing.
Why not?
Nothing,
Why not?
I grant you nothing, sir.
Wait,
because you haven't earned it. You aren't owed.
I don't know what
you aren't owed my acquiescence.
I'm not trying to like bully you. I'm just.
You're not bullying. I'm bullying you. What are you talking about?
No, I'm not. Okay, I'm not trying to like trap you. I just think that like it should be easy. Of course.
Because it obfuscates. It obfuscates like what the metaphor is trying to elucidate. It obfuscates that when you boil it to 2, because it says that you only have 2 options, right? And it's a binary choice. That's what the Democratic Party wants you to believe. That's a binary choice. That's one. It's chicken or fish, like Obama said. That's what you have. You have chicken or fish, right? Or you can have people who stay home, like they stayed home for Hillary. right? Like they stayed home for.
Okay, so let me get around this question.
And like, and like, and like, and like,
Yeah, and what
Joe
happened
Biden
when they
was
stayed
lost
home
to
for
2020
Hillary, dog? What happened? You think that was a good thing?
election, if not for COVID. If not for COVID, he would have in like the economic downturn that resulted in it. If that didn't happen, Trump would have won that election. Absolutely.
I'm not so sure about that. I talked to this guy, the Laksha Jain guy or whatever. Seemingly smart guy. A lot of people got a boost because of COVID. Like Trump, like other world leaders got a boost because of COVID. Jacinda Ardern got a boost. The Peruvian president got a boost. A bunch of Western leaders got a boost. I think Boris got a boost. Like, so I'm not so sure that COVID hurt. I think Trump's response to COVID maybe hurt him, but like perhaps, yeah. But like, I think if
Trump's response to COVID hurt him.
Okay,
Absolutely.
but like, what I'm saying is like, I'm not so sure that he would have like take out COVID. He would have won anyway. Anyway, I just want to get around all these questions. I think that I should push you on the two choice thing, but it doesn't seem like you want to do it.
You're not gonna win.
But here's what I'm saying: like, we're not talking between 999 and 1,000. What we're talking about is orders of magnitude difference, not just in Gaza, which it would be orders of magnitude different.
No, it's not orders of magnitude different.
Not only in Gaza. Wait, let me just finish it. Not only in Gaza, also domestically. We're not talking about the difference between 999 and 1,000. It is a night and day difference. It's the difference between having a country and not having a country.
I agree that in terms of their policy agenda, absolutely a shit lib like Kamala, right? A boring corporate shit lib, desperately and completely under the thumb of the billionaires who financed her campaign. Was her campaign not financed to $2 billion?
Yeah, it was. You know what? I'm gonna get on my stump right now. Let's get on your stump. I want to get on my stump. I respect the fuck out of Kamala Harris because she understands.
I don't.
She understood in that moment.
Yeah,
that she had
really.
a responsibility to the fucking nation.
Yeah, I'm so surprised.
That fucking money.
No, and she walked a line that she thought was. Listen, I don't agree with everything she did in the campaign, but I respect the fuck for her trying to fucking win, to be a killer, and to try to find She did try to win. And you know what? She probably saved us so many seats in the Senate and the House. And I respect the fuck out of her. I respect the fuck out of her for doing her best to win and saving us from otherwise.
She didn't do her best to win. She was doing her best to win at the very start of the campaign, right? When the start of the campaign, when she was coming out with more forceful rhetoric, when she got Tim Walz into the vice president.
And it wasn't enough for you.
Like, no. It was. I was extremely excited. I was telling people, hey, because we're people in my space who are saying she's garbage, don't give her a chance, like she's got no charisma. And yeah, she doesn't really have charisma. But I'm like, look past all that. I'm seeing a lot of positive notes from Kamala Harris. I was extremely excited, right? My excitement was increasing from like, just like being optimistic at the start, and then being completely positive, right? At the beginning. Then start introducing like really simple terminology that was like exciting the base, right? Just calling Republicans weird. Just calling them weird. Hey, it's weird that Republicans have these policies, right? It's weird that they're so obsessed with whatever's in between the legs of trans individuals. That's a weird fucking thing to do, right? And it was catching on. And putting Tim Walz forward, I think was giving her a lot of attention that she wasn't getting otherwise, right? But here's what happened. According to reporting, right? Well, multiple things happened. One of them was that she got a message, like a phone call from President Biden, right? And in that phone call, he says, no daylight. And what he means by that is that there can't be daylight between your positions and my positions. That he wanted her to run his campaign, right? And this explains that when she goes on to was it?
Does that strike you as believable? I mean, maybe it happened.
100% believable. Hold on, I'll give you an example of this, right? When she goes on to what's Whoopi Goldberg's thing on ABC, The View. When she goes in The View, her disastrous appearance in The View, and they asked her a simple question: hey, what would you do differently from Biden, right? She said,
that was a bad answer. That's a bad answer.
No, yeah, but that's the answer that
you're falling for that meme. You actually believe her when she says, like, I wouldn't do anything different. She's in a tough position, and you're basically...
Oh, do I believe the candidate when they say something? Oh, I'm sorry, during a campaign, I probably...
Well, that's a fucking stupid thing to think. You just believe any candidate and what they say right off the bat. Like, who does that? Everybody knows people lie to fucking be president. What a fucking dumb thing to say!
Naive,
what,
dude. Come on, she's the vice
do I have to
president.
give her? What grace do I have to give her? And
she was in one of the toughest spots.
She'll be better.
She was thrown in a horrible fucking hole by Joe Biden, and
yes.
she
terrible president Joe Biden agreed. Yes,
the best president of your lifetime. Name a better.
Awful.
Name a better president of your lifetime. Name a better president of your lifetime.
Name one who's done more damage to the Democratic Party.
Name a better president of your lifetime.
Name one.
Clinton left the Democratic Party. I don't like Clinton, to be very clear, right? But
you think Bill Clinton? You think the new Democrat Bill Clinton, conservative Bill Clinton?
No, I didn't say I liked him. I just said I didn't like him.
No, you think he's better than? You think he's a better president than Joe Biden?
I'm saying he left the DNC in a better position than Joe Biden. I think Obama left them.
Oh my God.
I don't like them. I think they're garbage. I think they're garbage.
But
the Democratic presidency, anyone that didn't sponsor a genocide, name them. Any which one?
George Bush.
Which one didn't?
George.
What a dumb. This is like crazy. He's absolutely unhinged. How do you even talk to somebody like this? It just doesn't matter. You can't make a good point. He's just not gonna agree. It doesn't matter because his enemy is the Democratic Party. It's not even the Republicans. That's his enemy. His enemy is the Democrats.
Bush?
And,
Was better than Joe Biden. I want to hear you say.
No, I thought we were talking about Democratic presidents.
I want to hear you say this. No, I'm
Did you
just
say Democratic presidents?
Okay, so you think that Bill Clinton was a better president than Joe Biden?
I named 3 Democrats.
Even though he was way more conservative than Joe Biden.
I don't like any of his policies. I think that the Obama administration mostly concerned itself with reversing things that happened in the Clinton administration. I think that we're still dealing with those issues. But when Clinton left office, the Democrats were in a fantastic position.
Joe Biden ended the war in Afghanistan. I thought you were anti-war.
I didn't say that Joe Biden didn't do things I agreed with. I said, hey, like the FTC, the CFPB were fantastic, right? You know, the parts that were given to him by.
So if it weren't for Gaza, would you acknowledge that Joe Biden was the best president in your lifetime?
I think he was. I think he beyond the genocide that he sponsored. I think
he almost said. I think he was a great president. He almost said it. He almost fucking said it.
I think he beyond the genocide that he sponsored, to the tune of billions. Yeah, I think he did a.
Wait, what? Oh, billions of dollars. Oh. I was saying billions of people.
A lot of great things, actually.
Okay, so it's really this Gaza. You're a one-issue voter in this respect. If it weren't for the Gaza stuff, you would have voted for Kamala.
Yes, if it wasn't for the genocide that we are supporting with our tax dollars,
there it is.
Like, if this wasn't for this massive thing that you keep trying to minimize,
there it is.
Yes, I would have voted
there
for
it
Kamala
is.
Harris.
You literally didn't vote for the person who was going to be effectively better on the one issue that you apparently cared so much about that it was worth all of this other bullshit.
For the genocide.
Yeah, so the
I don't know why. Are you just making this? Are you making this connection just now, just in this moment? This thing I keep repeating constantly. Yes, if it wasn't for the genocide that's happening as we speak, that was teed up for Trump by Biden.
How does you not voting for Kamala help end the genocide? No one ever explains that.
No, because that's listen, because you're not listening, because you're a shit lib, and you're doing the same thing that other shit libs do.
I just don't. How is what you're doing helping?
Hold on, I'm not talking about helping. I can't help. My one vote can't help. If I had voted for Kamala Harris, let's say I lived in a swing state. If I had voted for Kamala Harris.
Uh-oh. Did my shit cut out or are we good? Thanos, am I still there?
Oh, yeah, you're still, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. No, I meant like, is my stream still going?
Oh, I don't know.
Hang on.
I kind of just like listening to your commentary. It's funny, even though I'm not paying attention to what they're saying.
My stream is still going.
Is it so? I think I got it up. I'll check.
It's being a little fucky right now, I think.
No, it looks like it ended.
It ended?
Conversando hace 3 horas, which I think I have my system settings in Spanish, but I think that insinuates that like that it's not going on anymore. Otherwise it wouldn't say hace 3 horas or 3 hours ago. I don't think, right?
Let me see my stats. Hang on. It says it's still going. It's just a little choppy right now. Can you go to it and like see my live right now?
Let me click on that video. No, it's not live. Wait. No, it's not live. Okay.
What does it say?
Well, it says live now on your Yeah, okay, yeah, you're live again.
Okay, that was weird.
Yeah, I don't know what Kick did, but yeah, that's a new live stream now. The other one that you were filming that for like 3 hours got cut off.
It says I'm still live. It says that time didn't get cut off.
Well, that's what. Okay, I don't know. That's what it looked like when I clicked the video of like those two guys. It gave me a definite time. As in this stream is 3 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
But I clicked the live button on your profile and it's its own separate thing. I don't know. I think Kick's just being weird like it is sometimes.
Kick is being a little weird. Hang on. I should still be live. Yeah, it looks like I'm still live. Chat's not saying anything though. Okay. Let's see. Are we good now?
I'm gonna send you a.
Did you open my actual live? Is it good?
Yeah, I opened your actual live.
You see me now and you can hear me and all that shit, right?
Let me unmute.
We're good?
Yeah, I think you're good now.
Okay, alright, cool.
I just did the repeat.
Trump would still be in office. Trump would still be in office, correct? I can have helped in that situation, right?
No,
in this
but
situation,
you know what I'm talking about, right?
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Hey, she's owed your vote. Hey, why aren't you doing your obligation? And in that way, helping Kamala Harris, the one who promised to continue the genocide. And actually, no, I couldn't.
Well, she was trying to get a ceasefire, and so was Joe Biden.
She wasn't. No, she was. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
So you don't think Joe Biden was trying to get a ceasefire?
I say that like Joe Biden understood that the Netanyahu government was trying to sabotage a ceasefire the entire time.
Yeah,
right?
of course he was.
Joe Biden carried water for him the entire time, being the ultra-Zionist that he was, right? That he didn't actually forcibly fight. He didn't do the things that could have actually ended the goddamn.
But he didn't want a ceasefire.
Like, listen, what would have made a difference there, right? Joe Biden betting and pleading and getting on his knees, sucking on Netanyahu's cock, or denying him weapons, saying that we will send not one more dollar to Israel. Which one would be more effective?
Yeah, I think that Joe Biden should have been harsher on Netanyahu earlier on. I don't know.
The entire time. At any point in time, he should stop sending those weapons. Which would be more effective? Begging Netanyahu, please, thank you, I beg of you, sir, or denying him the money. Which one?
Yeah, so I think that being stronger, like I said, against.
Oh, well, you got that, right?
Stop trying to be a weasel.
Yeah, I was about to say including, right? So including, for example, stopping aid to Israel, including stopping weapon shipments to Israel, all those different measures. That's what comes into the rubric.
Yeah,
that might have had the desired
right
effect.
now I'm trying to, because No Man's Sky is giving me trouble, and I'm trying to see if I can just load the save file on my other computer, but it's like fucking a little bit with
Does it fuck up when you try and like play games and stream something else at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, not on my laptop it shouldn't, but let me just, I think it should be okay now, we'll see. But I'm just checking right now if it'll load the save or if it'll crash here. And then what I'll do is I'll save it on here, right, which will go up to the cloud, and then I'll try to open it on this PC again real quick and see if it'll work. And if it doesn't, then fuck it, I'll try to fix it later. This is my last attempt at trying to get it to work, so anyway.
That might have had the desired effect here.
It would have, because Israel can't prosecute this war about it.
But I'm not sure about that. I don't know that to be the case. I don't know that to be the case. I think that's the assumption of a lot of people. Certainly, I want to be, some people saying, like, I don't want to call it genocide. I've called it a genocide before. I've said that I support not sending arms or aid to Israel. So, I mean, I'm not shying away from my position here.
It's kind of cool on an unrelated note to what is being
really the question
talked about in that debate.
Don't you think that if a Democrat's in the White House, that we have a materially better situation?
It's really cool. I'm having like the new Chat GPT model, like, hey, can you like write? Can you like type out a science fiction novel in Spanish for me to read? And like able to do that. So it's really good too. These AIs are getting pretty advanced and pretty useful too. And reading's a good way of apprehending.
Yeah, definitely. And you could probably tell it to like write it in a way where it's like cognizant of your level of understanding, right?
Yeah.
So that it'll write it at like your level, or like slightly above if you ask it to. And that way you're like sort of learning as you go along, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, so cloud status up to date. All right. Let's see, can we check the cloud? How do I force it to check the cloud again? Can we check it? How do I force it to check? Properties. Or will it check when I launch? play. Downloading. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, let's see if this works. If not, I'll fix it later.
In Gaza for Palestinians. Do you think that's true?
Pisco,
Just answer the question.
No. I won't answer that question because Pisco, you're asking me why I voted the way I voted, right? And I tried to explain that to you, and then you ignore it and say like, no, answer this other question, right? Like I'm going to shift the paradigm.
I'm not shifting anything, so it's all getting into the same thing, which is your vote.
Try this. Repeat. What? And I've already told you. Why didn't I vote for Kamala Harris?
You said because she was supportive of the genocide. That's what you said.
Okay. And there's a relation to that. But she didn't clear my ethical bar. Sorry, she didn't clear my ethical bar. There's a minimum ethical bar, and she didn't clear that.
Okay, which was supporting the genocide in your mind, even though she was in favor of a ceasefire.
She was okay. Being in favor of a ceasefire is and promising to continue Joe Biden's policies means the genocide continues.
All right, so she didn't clear your ethical bar.
You can rhetorically say I'm for a ceasefire, like all these fucking centrist countries that you named previously, right? Are all in favor of a ceasefire.
Unbelievable.
Right? So no, that's not enough.
Okay, so just to be clear, if you knew for certainty that Kamala Harris in office right now would like save the lives of 20,000 Palestinians, would you substitute her in for Trump?
No, I don't vote for people who support genocide.
Oh, Daniel, there it is. Oh my God. Oh, fuck. That is painful.
So even if it was 20,000, even if you put in 20,000 lives of Palestinians,
my friend,
you wouldn't. I mean,
because here's what you're doing. No, because you're like, hey, if you had that magic ball, right? Which sorry, the crystal ball, like a crystal ball, and you could see into the future, right? And it can alter. You can use crystal that to guide your election decision. Would you have done a thing?
You're saying even if you knew you wouldn't do it. You're saying even if you knew it would save the lives, you wouldn't do it. That's crazy.
But you don't actually know. But you don't actually know.
No, but if you knew.
If you knew. But this is But here's the thing. This is why I don't like these hypotheticals, right?
Because they reveal things, man.
No, because they obfuscate more than they show. No, it's the actual opposite of that, right? Because then it says that like, well, then your decision is based on like who the slightly lesser evil. This is another way of putting the slightly lesser evil. But I'm not voting on the slightly lesser evil. I'm saying, hey, there's an ethical bar to clear. Will you support a genocide? I will never vote for a person who supports a genocide. Full stop, right? And hold on. So let's rewind a bit here, right? We talked about don't worry, but we're gonna fight a lot. But we talked about
this is ridiculous.
Fuck. Now I kind of lost it there once again. We talking about
why
I'm voting the way I'm voting, right?
I mean, like you literally just said, like I don't care.
How can you help?
More people
I can't help.
I don't care.
My vote, right? My one vote. We agree that no matter how much Pisco or any shit lib just like him berates me over my vote, that like even if Pisco could give me a time machine and change my vote, that actually we end up in the same situation, right? We're right back here, correct? Great. So there is no option.
That's true of any vote, though, but it's kind of a cop out, right?
Yes, of course. No, it's not a cop out. No, I'm addressing this directly. Simply the case is that I can't vote. All I can do is make a decision, right? A decision based on my own principle, like what anyone else can do, right? And hope that the totality of those decisions.
Oh boy, here we go.
Takes us to a better future. I'm sorry, I'm still getting off with this code. The totality of those decisions takes us to a better place, right? My decisions are other people's decisions. Takes us to a better future. That's all I can do, right? However, the thing that always happens in these conversations is that yes, libs try to break you and saying, well, she'd be a slight that she would institute a slightly kinder,
crazily better.
No, a
crazily
kinder,
better.
No, it wasn't. No, sorry, I disagree with like because Biden had almost no controls on and I want to say absolute no controls on Israel, but in case I'm missing something in my head at this very moment, I'll say almost no controls on what Israel could do. He teed up the situation we're in right now, right? So you're saying it would be better from a person who said, I promise you I'm going to do the same thing that Joe Biden did. I promise you I'm going to continue the genocide.
So
no, I don't have any reason. You were simply
wife?
saying that, right? Saying that would be the outcome, right? But she was beholden to Zionist billionaires who made it very clear who and who wasn't allowed in the party. And she, like a good dog, obeyed, right? So no, I don't believe her. I don't believe you. When you specifically state things would be so much better, specifically when we're talking about Gaza. No, actually, if she acted like Biden, then when does she say no? When does she say no? Biden never said no. When does she say no?
What about your country, dude? What about your country? I mean,
all right, man. We already established what I'm voting over, right? Correct?
Yeah, you care more about Palestine than your own country.
Yeah, I care more about the genocide that's happening.
Then your own country falling into dictatorship.
I care more about the genocide that's happening. Look, I had this argument with my parents. My parents were talking about like their Social Security and what happened with Social Security if he got in office. I'm saying I told them, like I'll tell you, that despite that hurting them, and I've been hurt personally by Trump's policy, like materially hurt by some of Trump's policies. I saw that coming.
I'm telling you, all the Zionists are laughing their ass off that Trump won the election. They're laughing all the way, and you're laughing along with them.
And why would I be laughing along with them?
I mean, when Kamala Harris won, what was your feeling? I mean, lost. How did you react?
I think that she deserved it because she tossed it away. She tossed away a winning chance.
Man to man. You said that she deserved to lose. Again, that's again incorporating the kind of like she, you owed your vote. She deserved to lose. These are all ways.
She deserved to lose because she ran a bad campaign.
Are you glad she lost?
Am I glad she lost? I have mixed feelings about that. I think that one, I'm sad for the country that once again liberals, handmaidens of fascism, refuse to institute and follow any policies that discourage people to vote for them, and so we end up with a fascist in office. I'm sorry that they sabotage the country. I'm not sorry for Kamala because I don't care about Kamala, her as an individual, right? So fuck her.
How about the millions of people who are going to be affected by the loss of USID? What about the?
Hold on. I'll get to it. So I'm sad for what Trump was going to do. How Trump is going to brutalize people over and above the brutalization that Kamala was happy with. But in terms of for the DNC, for the health of the DNC, that I was happy because I think that her brand and Joe Biden's brand of politics needed a defeat. We needed this space.
I don't know what that means. They needed a defeat.
I'll tell you what it means. We needed to be within the wilderness.
That's Cenk Uygur. That's Cenk Uygur.
I mean, well, wilderness is a common term that we use.
No, I mean that's his argument is I'm so hopeful now because we're in the wilderness and in the populous wilderness.
Okay, well maybe. But yeah, so being in this political wilderness, that we have a chance to rethink what our party is going to be, right? That they weren't triumphant. In fact, they lost. It was a humiliating loss, historic loss, and now it gives us the space to reckon with that, and that we wouldn't have if she had won. However, of course, this comes at the cost of lives.
Of
lives in this country and lives in other countries as well.
I mean, there's a comment from YouTube. Tell me if you agree with it. 4 years of skull fucking Gaza was a good thing because it rattled the DNC. Thoughts?
4 years of skull fucking Gaza was a good thing because it rattled the DNC. No, why would I say that?
Well, it wasn't a good thing, right? It was bad that Kamala lost, wasn't it?
No, hold on. Sorry.
No,
it is bad.
No, in your mind, is it bad? It
is bad for the country because I have nuanced thoughts on this. It's bad for the country that Kamala Harris lost, right? But it's equally bad for the country that Kamala Harris chose that policy agenda, right?
Equally bad?
Yes, because that's why she lost. That's why she lost.
Yeah,
that's a combination of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Like, you have to split the. When I say Kamala Harris, I also mean Joe Biden as well, because there was no daylight kid, right? Because she didn't separate herself, because there was a continuity of the both. So when I say Kamala Harris, I also assume I mean Joe Biden as well, unless I say otherwise. So yes, because of the policy agenda she chose and she put forth, right? That is the tragedy, because that tragedy put us in this particular situation. That's the case, right? So what the shit lib, like Pisco, desperately tries to frame this at, right? Is that like, well, the country is at a deficit because she didn't get enough votes, rather than the country is a deficit because she didn't do a better job, right? Because she did a poor campaign, because she chose a poor policy platform. None of that.
I kind of view it as separate issues.
Of course you do. It's very important that you do, right? Because else we have to actually examine those issues.
I literally think that they're separate claims. So one claim is, did Kamala do bad because she did X, and the other one is, did you do bad because you did Y? Whether you have culpability, you could be culpable, and Kamala.
I'm not culpable for Kamala's actions.
Well, I think you are in a sense ethically culpable.
And that's where we disagree.
For your own action, right? Because
my own actions, I took an ethical stance, right, against genocide. That's what I did, right? That, hey, if you support genocide, you don't get my vote, right? A simple bar to clear, right? Most other people can clear it, not Kamala Harris, not Joe Biden, and not Trump.
For all the good it did for the Gazans,
no,
you're
it wasn't.
basically suggesting
I can't do it because you put the emphasis on me, right? You put the emphasis on other people for all the good you did for the Gazans, but I couldn't do any good for the Gazans other than like sending money or protesting on their behalf or something.
You could have voted for Kamala, and if other people.
No, hold on. I couldn't have done that. Could I have? Because we're talking about
not dispositively you by yourself.
No. Okay. I couldn't do it. So okay. So it wasn't my fault then, right? So I couldn't have had effect. So was it my fault, right? The only vote that I have the power to change is my own vote, correct? Right? The only vote that I have.
I'm not sure about that. You also have an audience. You also have.
That's fair. That's fair.
I assume you have some.
Everyone hangs on my words. That's true.
But I mean, then if that's the case, then you have no negative words for anyone who voted for Kamala or anyone who voted for Trump, because they didn't affect the genocide either, because their vote wasn't dispositive. Is that right? Of course you would have. You do put moral culpability. The thing is, Prime. No, I want to say it's so ridiculous, because you saying that your vote didn't matter. If it didn't matter, you wouldn't put so much weight on it, and the fact that you voted against Kamala or not for Kamala in the first place. So clearly, your vote matters to you, and clearly you do ascribe some culpability if someone votes for Kamala, because you think that's voting for the genocide, because you're voting for someone who's in favor of the genocide. So can you spare us with this? I mean,
I won't spare. Sorry, again, I won't let you do your moral preening on this, because I see what you're trying to do, trying to shift this. No, when I say that, I encourage people to vote. I've always voted in every election that I've been able to vote. I voted. I've never not voted, right? Even in this election, I voted, right? Just not for president, because no one can clear the ethical bar of not supporting genocide. All war criminal.
Did you vote for Jill Stein?
I don't know if I had that option in my state. But in any case, and I had some problems with the Green Party, but Jill Stein's fine.
Wait,
but we're talking about ethical obligations, right?
Yeah.
Like the way you try to shift this is like, well, you didn't help, right? The thing that you're helping is the Gazans, right? Your vote helps the Gazans, my individual vote, but then you shift the blame, right? A blame that lands on a collective, on the individual. So
well, clearly you do too, right? Because the very fact that you're putting moral weight in your own vote and you're considering the ramifications of your vote, and you're saying like I'm not going to vote for someone who supports genocide, means that your vote has some weight to you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be voting in the way you do. So
and I noticed that the entire time you don't want to talk about Kamala's policy.
I'm happy to, but
that doesn't. Oh, okay. So
no, but like we can move off.
The thing that would attract voters. The thing that I've been talking about the entire time. We can move off. I've always been.
Well, no, I think the entire time we were talking about your vote, right? Like your vote. Why'd you vote?
No, the reason why I vote is because of Kamala policy. Or didn't vote was because of Kamala's policies, right? The thing I've been saying the entire time, right? The thing you've been voting the entire time because you want to put the ethical weight on voters rather than the candidate.
I think you know something to answer for because listen, can we just address it because like to be honest, right? You do put weight on your vote. You do put weight on your vote. It's not that you can't just be like, well, my vote wouldn't have affected anything. That's a cop out because the fact that you're putting so much like moral prescription on your own vote and this moral line means that you do value your vote, and it's not enough for you to just be like, well, it wouldn't have mattered. Like that, if you're treating the vote the way you are, where it like you're highly valuing it, it's more than just the dispositive nature of whether it would have changed the outcome. That has to follow. You understand what I'm
saying? Let me see. Maybe I can
sure.
build a bridge here.
I think we already have a bridge, man. I mean, the bridge is there. It's always been there.
Yeah, the bridge to you to come over to my side. Yeah.
You're fooling yourself if you think there's going to be a bridge here, bud. You're fooling yourself. He's not going to budge. He's not giving any indication that he's going to budge.
Okay, let me shift this a bit. Yes, I put some level of importance in my vote, or else I wouldn't, have agonized over. I did agonize. I really talked to people before. I talked to a number of people like, hey, like this, like, I'm on the fence. I want to vote for. I thought the election would be much closer than it was.
It was a close election.
I thought it'd be even closer. Like, okay. Hey man, like it might be a couple of dozen votes across a few states. Like I agonized about this. And I wouldn't agonize about something that didn't matter at all. You're correct there. That's fair.
Yeah. So
right?
If it mattered to you, then you can't just be like, well, it wouldn't have changed anything. I mean, like, come on, man. I mean,
but at the same time, and that was the second part, is that it wouldn't have changed anything. And the actuality.
I know, but when we talk about like ethics of voting, we're talking about some broader signaling value and like kind of mapping that onto a.
It's funny how they try to say you can't blame them not voting for Trump. At the same time, claim victory, saying the reason Kamala lost was because she didn't appeal to them. They live in two different worlds. None of them are planet Earth.
Election of voter, right? And it's kind of like it's a proxy conversation of who ought to have won, right? So we all understand that any individual voter has essentially zero chance of affecting the election. And so when we say you should have voted for XYZ, we're not saying it in the sense of if you did,
a person who supported the genocide didn't ought to have won.
So in other words, you're saying it was good that Kamala didn't win.
I'm not going to attach good or bad to it.
Well, what is something that's good?
You're not going to attach good or bad to it because as soon as you say good, which is what you really feel, you look like a fucking asshole.
I don't like what is good other than what ought to occur.
Let me not use your language, okay? Let me just use my language. I won't just use your language. I'm saying she didn't deserve to win because she didn't. She supported genocide.
So I don't know what you mean by deserve to win. Meaning it like does deserve mean something other than?
I didn't earn the win. Maybe.
Okay, so does earn the win like when you say earn the win, you mean like? In order to win, in order to actually win, like ethically win, you need to have clear bar.
No, not ethically. I guess that as well. But I'm saying that like she didn't do the necessary steps to win.
You're saying from like an electoral prognosis standpoint, like if she wanted to win, she would have done X, Y, Z.
Yeah, she would have.
Okay, but I'm not asking in that sense. I'm saying like basically, would it have been better? Do you think overall, in terms of your own ethical system, wouldn't it have been better if Kamala won versus Trump?
Yes.
Okay, so if you think it would have been, so in other words, if it would have been better under your ethical view for Kamala to have won, why wouldn't you have done a thing that is in line with what would have
because
been
you
better?
didn't earn my vote. Because the thing that you want to ignore.
Yeah.
So you pretend like you're integrating this into your arguments, but you aren't. The thing that you want to talk about is, hey, you owe her your vote, right? As a person who is nominally aligned to the left, you owe her your vote. Like Hillary Clinton, she was owed the votes, right? Why didn't she win? Right? She was supposed to be coordinated, right? I mean, the DNC thought so. Hell, they in that New York auditorium, and they're gonna do the laser light shows of like her breaking the glass ceiling, right? They were so sure of themselves that she earned the vote when she didn't earn the vote. When she didn't do the campaign she was supposed to do, in like Wisconsin and Michigan, I believe. She didn't. Where she didn't go.
Yeah, I kind of just view that as a separate. Like when you say like,
how's that separate? No, it's not.
There's
separate
things.
Your
ethical responsibility to vote for the better.
I don't have responsibility.
You don't have responsibility to vote responsibly.
Okay, so if
you clearly think you do because you voted not.
No, try this. No, try this. Hey, if the candidate, so there's a Democrat and there's a Republican. The Republican campaigns hard, right? Campaigns like Trump did, right? Which is meaning constantly campaigning, is everywhere, is constantly pushing the message. The Democrat literally does not show up anywhere, right? Never.
Yeah,
does.
Kamala's and Hillary's capability is separate from yours.
No.
It's separate from yours.
But these things are intimately tied. So I'm trying to.
Did you vote for Joe Biden?
Hey, hold on.
Did you
vote for Joe Biden?
Okay,
I did vote for Joe Biden.
Okay.
Yes, I told you before. I already told you. I voted in every election that I was eligible for president.
So you did the right thing there. You did the right thing. Even though Joe Biden was a Zionist in 2020, he was a Zionist in 2020.
I had no idea that he was Zionist, and I had no idea he was pro-genocide. If I had known he was pro-genocide, I wouldn't have voted for Joe Biden. Make that very clear. But in any case, if the Democrat literally never goes anywhere, but like we are and doesn't talk about their policies, right? But I guess we're to assume. I mean, they're a Democrat, so they must have cleared some sort of bar for the DNC, and they are our candidate who's going to be on the ticket, right? Does that person know your vote? They literally never.
Yeah. So when you keep saying owed vote, like I understand an owing.
Well, you said owed as well.
Yeah. This is a concept that I often see with people, I have to say, who are kind of cagey or didn't vote in 2024. They said even I'm just saying, like there are some people who will say like it doesn't really matter what I did or didn't do because Kamala deserved to lose, or Kamala wasn't owed people's vote, or she wasn't earning the vote. And I just view those as kind of, and I'm not saying you're doing this on purpose, but I kind of view that as a weasel way to get around the real thing, which is like, was it the right thing to do to vote for her? Because like, I don't understand the concept of deserve separate and apart from what ought to happen. Like if I deserve something, it means something ought be given to me. If she deserves to win, it's because she ought to have victory. She ought to have the victory.
When I gave you the option before, which we never really got a chance to explore because you kept trying to bastardize the hypothetical, the two pedophiles, right?
Yeah.
One slightly worse than another, right? Is there an ethical obligation to vote for the slightly worse pedophile? Is that slightly
assuming
worse
that there's
pedophile?
only two options?
There's a third option.
What's the third option?
Not voting. Yes.
Okay,
but
not voting is not voting for either of them. That has no chance of affecting
the Zionist.
Economy, then I think you have a moral obligation to vote for less child rape. Do you agree?
No.
Oh, okay.
You don't have an ethical obligation to vote yes for any child rape. Right?
Okay, so if you were given the option, vote for genocide of every single race or vote for genocide of all but one race, who are you going to vote for?
So,
neither?
I'm vote for any of them. Okay. No, I'm not going to vote for any. Look, you don't have...
Bro, this man, with confronted with the trolley problem, would just run away. That's it. It just clicked for me. If this man was confronted with the trolley problem, he'd close his eyes and run away. He'd let the 5 people die.
Genocidal maniacs aren't owed my vote. Child rapists aren't owed my vote. I get that you are for the...
He literally would... Oh my God, this is it. This is the trolley problem. In real life. It's the real fucking trolley problem. He is letting the train go over the 5 people. That's it. We've figured it out.
The slightly less child rape ticket, right? I get that excites you. I get that you can't wait to go out, sweat it out in whatever state you're in, right? I'm
just trying to reduce harm, bro. I mean, like you can put it that way.
I'm just
trying to reduce harm.
If we look at the Middle East, I think it's about time we stop, those of us who support, as most of us do, Israel in this body, for apologizing for our support for Israel. There's no apology to be made. None. It is the best $3 billion investment we make. Were there not an Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect her interest in the region. The United States would have to go out and invent an Israel.
Dude. I can hear the leftist jimmies being rustled far away.
You don't care that,
which pedophile is...
Say it to the thousands of Gazans.
No, don't try to put that on. No, I won't. Because you're doing it again. Fuck you. No, fuck you and fuck this framing. No, fuck this framing. No, because once again, you put it on me. Instead,
he's so mad.
And I said that at the very start of this conversation, right? That shit libs, like Pisco, right, want to avoid talking about the actual candidate and the actual choices they made, right? Because that part implicates the DNC. It implicates them, right? Them for supporting these awful candidates, right? They don't want to talk about Kamala Harris, right? They don't want to say that. All they want to talk about.
So you think I'm culpable because I voted for Kamala Harris and I advocated for Kamala Harris? You think I'm culpable with a genocide, even though my vote wouldn't have changed anything?
No, I think you feel that way. I think you feel that way.
I don't feel that way.
You're culpable. This is why you want to obfuscate the conversation. So in any case, right? The policies is what the original sin here isn't my vote. It's not my vote, right? That's the end. That's how it's rarely.
Who cares what's the original sin or not the original sin?
No, because it actually fucking matters. Actually, the order of operation matters, counselor. Of course it does.
Why does what the original sin matter?
Just like Oh no, of course it does. Hold on. This is what Israelis do, right? Israelis like, well, we were attacked on October 7th. History begins on October 7th.
Yeah, but don't you criticize them for that? Don't you criticize them for that? For focusing
absolutely, right? So I say, hey, let's back.
Like, okay.
And so, hold on. What do you think I think history begins, Pisco? What do you think I think history began? Tell me. When does history begin?
3 billion years ago at the fucking Big Bang or something? I don't know.
Sorry. In terms of the presidential election.
I don't know. 1776, Declaration of Independence. I don't know where you start. Like, I'm not trying to be glib here. I don't fucking know when you start the clock.
Okay.
I'm trying to be as good faith. I really am trying here.
Okay. No, it's all right. So when I'm talking about looking into history, right? I feel like the way that you're framing this is that year 1 or second 1, whatever, is when I cast my vote, my empty ballot vote, or November 4th. Let's just make it that way, right? November 4th. That's when the election was. Maybe it's dumb stuff. Whatever. The election. That moment is the beginning, right? That's where we start assigning probability. I say it happened before that. I mean, years before, right? At the very least, when Joe Biden made the decision to support the genocide, right? At the very least, we should start there. Maybe we should start beforehand.
When
right?
Joe Biden made the decision to support the genocide. Whoa, that is some framing right there, boys. Holy shit.
We actually should, because I think there was a myriad of things that helped lose this election that put us in this exact position. But still, for the purpose of this conversation, right, I think it's fair to talk about the inciting incident, which would be Joe Biden.
Joe Biden is where you start the clock. I mean, that's convenient.
Okay, what do you think I should start the clock?
I don't think you should. I think you should take every action in the moment it's taken. You know, considering everything. I don't think the timeline here is like you had a decision on November. Fuck, what was it 3rd? You had a decision on election day.
Election day. Yeah.
On election day, and I'm assuming that you're part of taking into account what to do. You're taking things in the past. You're taking things in the present, and you're taking your priors and intuitions about what's going to happen in the future. And I just don't understand like original sin of it. It's the same with like the genocide in Gaza, right? Yeah, October 7th. Did you condemn it?
I think that yeah. Hold on, we'll do this. I think that yeah. Hold on, we'll do this. I think if people have the right to.
I don't know what I expected from this fucking stupid fucker. Oh my god, what a piece of shit, dude. Even Hassan, in his weak ass fucking little way, will condemn October 7th. Bro. Are you kidding me, dog?
Fight back with an armed resistance. I condemn the deaths of civilians. I don't condemn the deaths of a military asset, right? So any like civilians that were like murdered in their homes. No,
that's marginally better than what I thought he was saying. Still, fuck you, guy. Fuck you.
That whatsoever. In terms of like murdering military assets, absolutely.
Okay, well, I'll just say, with respect to the genocide, just because, even assuming you start the clock at time equals 0 at October 7th, I assume you wouldn't be like, okay, because there's an original sin, it therefore justifies everything after that. I mean, that's the kind of thinking that I thought that pro-Palestinian people are like trying to fight against. And so I just don't, I don't really.
The entire time.
So then, like, what's the point of doing this? Like, okay, then, like, what's the point of doing this whole like original sin was Kamala Harris, Joe Biden? Who the fuck cares? You had a choice, and you failed.
Who the fuck cares? No, who the fuck cares? Guy, hold on. What am I voting for? What are we doing in the act of voting, right?
Yeah, it's not that much better.
Are we voting for honor? Are we voting for pride?
It's not. That's why I said marginally.
Because keep in mind, they think every Israeli is a military asset.
I mean, he did say he condemns the killing of civilians, so that seems to belie the opinion that not every Israeli is a civilian. That's just from context clues, but I don't know. Like, obviously, someone hasn't asked him outright as far as this conversation goes, so who knows? If they got deeper into that, then maybe he would admit that he thinks that they all are.
Are we voting for?
What are you voting for? I'm voting for to make people's lives better and to protect America.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then yes, then you're different than me, right? You're okay with genocide, right? You're fine.
Really? You think I'm okay with genocide?
Yeah, actually, I think
what makes you think that
you're saying, literally this entire conversation. But hold on.
Oh my God, what a fucker! All right, quick dailies break. Just let me. Jesus.
This is why they all need to be removed from the party.
I agree. I agree. All right, what do we got?
There's no use in any sort of coalition with people like that.
Yeah. Jesus. Mm, hmm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Dailies while there's a genocide? How dare I? Catnap, catfish, catwalk, cattail, I think. Nice. Okay. To jack, to raise. Rubbish. Baloney. That's bull. That's bunk. Okay. To raise, to jack, to hike, to crank. Nice. Fictional spies. Doimgisab. Continue to the game. Oh, for God's sake. What the fuck? Does this look like Afghanistan? Like the mountains of Afghanistan? Maybe? I don't fucking know. Damn, this is a tough one, dog. I'm feeling mountains of Afghanistan. Wonder if there's like any places that yeah. Any lush looking places? This is so difficult. Is there a soda can there? I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be way wrong on this. Shit. I'm about to drop a shit ton of points here. Oh, hey. Okay. That's not so bad. All right. Czechoslovakia. Is this Prague? Wait a minute. Furs? And there's an American flag? No. Kodak film. Oh no. But that's not an American street sign. Those aren't American. Oh shit. This doesn't look like Czech language, right? What about Slovakian language? Bratislava. No. Huh. Huh. This is making me feel like huh. No. I don't think it's Sweden either, right? Looking for words that end like et or etin. that Germanic? Damn, this is tough. Any thoughts, guys? It could also be like foreign people coming to do it, but Sunt. Yeah, so this is Czechoslovakia. But that's not Czech language. You got it, buddy. You'll figure it out. It's not too crazy. Right? Like this is not Czech. Be Dutch. Netherlands had some Soviet simps way back. I think they were saying like freedom for Czechoslovakia or something. That seems like what it's saying. Eking makes it sounds like Scandinavian almost, or Danish. I see keep being pulled back to Sweden. Wait, what about Finland? I didn't think about Finland. right. We gotta pick somewhere. This is probably stupid. Keep forgetting I got the new one earlier because you're West Coaster. This one's tough. I missed the one you did. Oh, fair enough. Oh god, I want to say Sweden, but I think I'm fucking wrong. I just don't know where it is. You know what? If I don't know, smartest thing is probably just go like the center of the areas I think it could be. So I'm just gonna fucking guess like here. And I'm gonna say like the 80s. Oh, 68. It was Norway. Fuck me. Well, at least I was right that it wasn't Czechoslovakia. God damn. Belgrade. Well, that's nice. I don't know. Fucking here. I don't know. And this has got 90s, maybe? '98. Nice. Okay. We take those. We take those. Which capital is this? Oh. This is in London. It's in London. It's gotta be like the 60s, right? I'm hoping they have like a little picture for it. It looks quite large. The fact that they call this tower the Gherkin is so fucking hilariously British. I think they just called it the pickle, right? That's a pickle. Is there any shot I'm going to find it this way? I don't think so. Oh. No. Right? No. It's got to have a lot of space in front of it. Or at least it did at one point. It might not now. Oh. A lot of big important buildings here. I don't know. I'm just going to guess somewhere in London soon, because I don't think I'm going to find it this way. Fuck it. We just going to go like here. Boom. 59. Okay, it was close enough. Damn. Yeah, we're missing it today. Shit. Oh, come on. Alright. Is that Ohio? That is Ohio. Columbus is the capital, right? Yeah. We'll guess it's the State House, I guess. And then this looks like early. 1905. Oh, it was 1900. Okay. Ah.
I'm playing that game that's kind of like GeoGuessr, but it's like a combined GeoGuessr and Guesser.
Yeah, it's one of my worst scores for a while too. Damn. That's okay, guys. That's okay. All right. And we'll watch this for a little while more, and then we'll finish up for the evening. Oh. You okay there, guy? You okay there, Prime? Having some trouble?
Voting for it to make people's lives better and to protect America.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then yes, then you're different than me, right? You're okay with genocide, right? You're fine.
Oh my god, dude!
Yeah, actually,
it's such brain rot fucking argument.
Literally this entire conversation. But hold on, right? So what are we voting for? Are we voting for individual leaders who make promises, who push a policy agenda that will actually have effect in real life, right? Or are we voting for red team, blue team for the honor of our cities? Is that what we're doing?
Bro, if it were like, if it were another candidate, if it were like a John McCain or a Mitt Romney, like, fine. Like, yeah, do your protest vote. But it was fucking Trump, and he was saying he was going to do crazy shit, and we saw Project 2025. This was not the fucking year, dog.
point of voting if not voting for a specific policy agenda, right? Like people will make fun of the uninformed voter, right? Because like the reasons why they vote are just like utterly baffling, right? You can't seem to pin them down as to like what makes sense to these individuals.
And you
like
don't,
low information voters. Like low
are you about
information
to
voters,
purchase
right?
and be like, I love these low information voters. I love them, what they stand for?
No.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were gonna be like, people make fun of these low information voters, but you do too, right?
Yeah, I think you should. I think you should be educating yourself on the issue.
All right,
these issues are important.
I read that
wouldn't be
wrong,
arguing
huh?
about these issues.
Got
That's
it.
fair. That's fair.
But you think that Kamala's policy platform is better than Trump's, and so I just don't like. And I understand that like she didn't meet the minimum threshold. We're not going to loop on that again. But like, okay.
So then why do you bring it up then?
I'm just saying.
Well, that's the thing that matters to me.
I think that people who care or profess to care about the Palestinian people, that it's like cold comfort. This kind of
no, don't give me that. Don't give me that. This is why I said fuck you before. Okay. This is why I said fuck you before.
Because you don't want to deal with the consequences of the kind of people.
No, you don't want to deal with Kamala Harris, the candidate, because once again, you place the blame on the voter rather than the candidate. Hey, Pisco, why this entire time?
Yes. Because the voters' actions in this case led to a measurably worse outcome for Palestinian people. You just don't want to accept it because then you have to like actually accept the fact that you fucked up. But leftists can't do that. Because your entire viewpoint of politics is based on I have this righteous position. And if you realize that, oh my God, maybe I made a bad choice from my own even like morality-based perspective, your whole point of view on this completely falls apart.
What? She should have. She ought to have. She had the moral obligation to, right? She had the ethical obligation to not support the genocide.
Because I'm not convinced it would have helped her. Because I'm not convinced it would have helped her win.
Hold on. That's why we're talking about a genocide. Why would that even have mattered anyway?
Because
right?
I think the primary goal, and this is something you'll never understand or respect, was in that moment she needed to win. For the sake of this country, for the sake of the future, and for the sake of the Palestinians, she needed to win.
But even then,
I'm not convinced that her. What happens if she calls it a genocide?
Pisco being based.
No, not calling it a genocide ain't enough, right? Actually doing something, promising
what
to
the
do
fuck
something.
Can she do? Right? She has Joe Biden. She has no power.
No, hold on. She's asking for the power during the campaign to be president.
I understand
right?
that.
Hey, what will you do?
If she said we're a party to a genocide, and if I'm president, I'm going to stop the genocide. If she did that, do you think she would have won or she would have lost harder?
I have numbers. Let's go through the numbers.
Okay. You know, the minute she does that, I want to say.
No, watch. Because I bet you 50 fucking bucks. What Prime is about to do is he's about to go through, like, the number of people who didn't vote because of the genocide, and he's going to completely ignore all of the people who would have been turned off from voting for her because of that point of view. Watch. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think that's what he's about to do.
Joe Biden under the bus. Right? So
fuck Joe Biden.
Okay.
Fuck
she's the vice president, and the Republicans are going to be like, wait a second, Kamala Harris. So you're the vice president do you denounce your own president? Do you denounce the person that you ran with? You denounce the person.
Be brave. Actually be brave.
You understand how much of a clusterfuck that looks? The vice president, Joe Biden's fucking partner in crime, now has just condemned him as a genocide fucking person.
Wait, are you going to bring up the numbers?
Like what? Like there's all kinds of ways you can finesse this. I get like the vagaries of a campaign, right? Of rhetoric. So you could say, look, Joe Biden made a tough decision in tough times, right? But I, as my own woman, right, with my own brain, supposedly that I have, I've decided I've made a difficult
to condemn Joe Biden.
And the most important thing, and look at you, the thing that you're most worried about in this moment, because you're a shit lib, right? Like I said, right, is how Joe Biden would feel, right? How would it look when Joe Biden's legacy? Oh my God,
it would be a fucking disaster.
About how Joe Biden would feel, bro. Who scooped out your fucking brain?
You know it.
No,
it would be a disaster.
No, I don't know it. No, hold on. I don't know that. You don't know that. And like I said, there's all kinds of ways without necessarily condemning Joe Biden, right? That you could have done this. Like I said, hey, oh my God, Joe Biden, in the moment of crisis, he stepped up. He did what he had to. What any American president, he took. He was trying to use the most peaceful, go through the peaceful, most. The path of friendship with our Israeli allies, right? He was trying to walk the path of friendship, but unfortunately, our Israeli allies haven't been good partners here, right? And so
here we go.
As my own person, follow a different path, right? So no, I don't condemn Joe Biden. He really did his best, right? But I simply feel that there's a different.
That would have been a lie, though, right? In your mind, it would have been a lie. You wanted her to lie.
It
would have been a lie.
No. It wouldn't. Sorry. Sorry, depends on. So no. I'm a little confused here, and it depends on what you mean here. Okay?
Your little proposal of like.
Hold on. Wait a second, because you know where I'm confused.
Okay, my bad.
Like what kind of Kamala Harris are we talking about? are we talking about a Kamala Harris who actually has ethical principles, right? This one doesn't exist. This is an imaginary person, right? If you're talking about that person, then it's the truth, right? If you're talking about Kamala who doesn't have ethical principles, the ones we have, right? Who stands for absolutely nothing, then yeah, it might have been a lie.
Well, no, it wouldn't have been the truth. What do you think it would have been the truth to be like Joe Biden, who in your mind, this hypothetical Kamala, I'm assuming has some aspect of your mind in ethical morality and your ethics. You think Joe Biden should be thrown in the fucking should be fucking he should be hanged for genocide. Yeah, so like so if Kamala has even 10% of that energy, I don't know how she says, yeah, he's a well-meaning old guy.
Because she also has some pisco psyche, right? And she understands that she needs to win. It would be a disaster if she just condemned him, right? And so instead, she'll say that he was a good person doing the best that he could do at the time, right? And then if
Ms. Harris, you've called this a genocide. Your administration is going to do the Is it your position that your genocide that your administration you're a part of is funding a genocide? Wait, no. I want you to be Kamala Harris, right? You be Kamala Harris. I'm the reporter. Ms. Harris, you've recently called it a genocide, and you said that America is a part of genocide. Are you saying that you're a part of an administration that is intentionally helping a genocide at the moment?
Yes. Yes, that administration that is intentionally helping you.
Why don't you resign, Ms. Harris? Why haven't you resigned yet?
Because I was doing the best I could behind the scenes.
Now that you've come public, don't you have an obligation to resign, especially since the administration is not listening to you?
No, I'm going to use this platform to hopefully gain office.
So have you stopped working with administrations and stopped being read in on meetings because of your moral? I mean, like, do you understand how fucking
stop being read on the meetings?
Can you acknowledge this is a fucking a disaster thing to do?
I don't. No, I don't. Okay. No, I don't. No, I
think that is delusional. Like that. Okay. That entire setup. Come on, guy. I mean, like this is
no. Okay. I don't. No, you keep saying. You
just said,
"Hey, this is a disaster," as if.
Come on, guy. You just said, "Come on, guy."
Campaigns don't have the right to respond, right? That voters can't make an assessment that, hey. First of all, there is a within the Democratic Party, there is a foreign policy disaster taking place at this moment, right? One that the vast majority of the Democratic Party is against, right? The people she actually needs to vote for. No, they were against it then. 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 We can find the polling on that too.
I'll give the numbers.
They weren't. We can do that. But in any case, so these people were against this situation. They can make an assessment on what kind of person she is and what action she could take, and she can make a response, right? Like you saying, well, the reporters might ask her a tough question. Oh my God, Brian, what happens if they ask her a tough question? Well, if they're asking, if they're asking,
what did you say?
What are you grunting about?
Just this line of argument is fucking retard fuel.
Well, for you, a shit lib, I'm sure it would be. For Kamala, for real Kamala, a shit lib, I'm sure it would be, right? But for the principal Kamala, the imaginary Kamala, yes, this is a principal.
No, but so, basically, you think that she should have resigned. I mean,
actually, no, sorry.
Yes.
Hold on, 1 second. I think before Joe Biden dropped out, when we under the impression that he would be the candidate, then yeah, she should have resigned, right? She should have resigned in protest. She should have resigned saying, "Hey, I'm not going to be part of this administration."
Bro, this is just he's living in a fucking dream world, dog. What? Everything has to be so extreme with these people. You just can't be reasonable at all. Like, you can never take a reasonable, well thought out position. It's like, we have to go to extremes. We have to... Bro, how do you think that would go over? You think she's still gonna get the nomination at that point? Are you fucking stupid?
Hey, this is a disaster. Like, make a speech. Like, hey, I'm taking an ethical stance against this, right? I've tried, I've done my best. President in the background to discuss this, but I have to put more pressure on him, so I'm taking this public, right? And if it still doesn't change, she should have resigned. However, she didn't resign, and she was put in a position of giving opportunity to take the reins, right? And in that position, then there's no point resigning at that point. You might as well finish out term in office while running for the campaign.
I don't know, man. I think you're starting to see some of the practical issues here. And I don't know. At least in the position, put aside the kind of moral line here, and the position
that that's why it's important that we don't look at that. Go ahead. Yeah, sure. That part's not important to you. Go ahead.
Well, I'm in the game of harm reduction, and so if both sides are in favor of a genocide, right? If both sides are in favor...
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My internet was being fucky for a minute.
Were you trying to say something?
No, I was just hearing you talk, and then you just roboted out, but it was on my end.
Okay.
Of it. Sure. I think you do have to make tough decisions, and I think it's easy for you to say from your position of where you are.
Don't fucking try me.
It's easy for you to say I'd rather not choose.
Don't fucking try me. Don't try me. Don't fucking try me.
The country needs to choose. The rest of the country needs to make a decision. Yeah. Their big boy pants.
Don't fucking try me on that. Don't fucking try me, because again, shit lib. This is what you do. Again, the focus can never be on Kamala Harris. Can never be on the candidate. Can never be on Joe Biden.
Bro, just leave the party. Make your own party. If you hate us so much, go away. Go away.
never be on the actions of the people in power, right? Instead, you put the focus on the people with the least amount of power, right? We talk about October 7th, the people who had the least amount of power rising up, right? We talk about the election, the people with the least amount of power, right? Making choices there, right? And saying, not enough of you made the choice that I deem to be correct, right? And instead of looking at the people who had the most ability to change things, which would be who? The fucking leaders. Right, and
I think it would undermine the ceasefire negotiations actually. So if you're imagine what the
ceasefire. Hold on. Oh, so what were the results of the negotiation? Can you tell me the results of the ceasefire negotiations?
They did.
Which one?
They did have months-long ceasefires. At least one during the administration.
They had ceasefire. They had temporary ceasefire that Israeli broke. Israel broke.
But you know what?
Because it wasn't backed by actual change. Because it wasn't backed by like a revocation of funds, right? Because it wasn't backed by anything but like wishes and promises. That ceasefire that fell apart immediately. That Israel didn't.
Trump is taking away funding from universities because they allow pro-Palestinian protests.
Hey,
Trump is fucking discriminating against all the non-citizens because
Joe
of their
Biden cracked down on universities during his election. He cracked down on the protesters. Absolutely.
There were slaps on their wrists, and they were going after people who did crimes, right? And they weren't using the powers of the federal government to like fucking deperson you if you were supporting Israel or Palestine.
I want to get the numbers.
Okay, go to the numbers.
Here we go.
Fucking shit lips.
I don't know. You look around you. We're in a nightmare right now, and it's because partly,
and it's because of Kamala Harris. It's because of Kamala Harris. It's because of Joe Biden. The people you refuse to examine, the people you absolutely positively refuse to examine, and you can say, so okay, even if you can say it would have been a disaster if Kamala Harris had done that, right? Like at the end, right, being like months away from the election, you're saying there would have been a disaster for Kamala Harris to break away from the positions of Joe Biden.
The party would have been an utter. We would have lost the House by a landslide, the Senate by a landslide. It would have been a disaster.
Let me give you that. I'll give you that. All right. Like Pisco's completely right. Okay, so then what about Joe Biden? What about his decisions, right? Then it would have fallen on him not to.
I do blame Joe Biden a lot.
Joe Biden, no, you haven't, because this entire time.
So my chat knows that you're full of shit because I've been talking shit about Joe Biden now for months and months, and everyone knows.
Hold on. Yes, but this entire conversation, you desperately want to put the blame on me.
Well, that's what I was asking you about.
Joe Biden,
I'll give you this. I think Joe Biden has more responsibility for the outcome than you do. I will give you that. 100%.
Than anyone other than like the Netanyahu administration outside of Israel, basically.
I mean, I don't know about that, but I'm just going to say Joe Biden's decision not to drop out.
Anyone? Who else? Like outside of, I'm saying outside of Israel, outside the Netanyahu administration, right? He would have the most culpability. Who else would have more?
Well, I think basically, I don't think it has to do with Gaza. I think it has to do with him not dropping out. I think you're delusional. You think that Israel-Palestine was factoring into people's votes during the election.
Okay, hold on. I've got numbers. We'll get to that in a second.
All right, let's get the numbers.
But you're saying that Joe Biden still, even
by not dropping out, had more of an impact than you.
Okay, by not dropping out. Okay.
But it's not because of Gaza.
Hold on. It wouldn't have been a campaign issue at all if he didn't support the genocide. Correct?
No, I think it still would have been a campaign issue.
What would have been a campaign issue?
How to deal with Israel, Palestine, and Gaza. That's a campaign issue.
But do you think it would have split the party?
Yes.
If we aren't supporting, if the Democratic Party isn't actively supporting the genocide?
Yes.
I disagree. I mean, like
one of the strongest minorities of the Democrats is the Jewish American community, who in principle, is more representatively pro-Israel.
He didn't think about it.
Constantly been a big source of contention in the party. So
they always vote for.
It's not just.
They always vote for. Actually, no. Let me leave that one.
He was going to say they always vote for Republicans, I bet. Oh, my God. Yeah, he didn't consider it at all. I was right. I was fucking right.
I'm not distracted by that. Okay. The numbers. All right.
These are the numbers.
So I have three, well, I guess I have four sources that I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. CNN Election Desk, a Pew Research poll, and a YouGov poll. It's a Pew Research study, election study. There's a difference here, and it's important later on. And a YouGov poll. Okay, three different sources. So the YouGov poll discusses voters who were Biden 2020 voters, but then didn't vote for Harris in the next election, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who flipped their votes.
This is YouGov.
YouGov, yes, and I can give you the link, so you can take a look at it yourself.
Let me see.
As soon as I can find it. I'll probably release Wednesday, January 15th by IME, Policy Project. And...
All right, fuck this. I think we're good for now. We'll pick this up next time. Let's see. Pisco Prime, 1 hour, 28 minutes, and we'll say 30 seconds. Numbers combo so dumb, you're mostly right. Pisco nails Prime strategy really fast, and Prime sticks with it for 15 minutes more past that. Yeah, so he completely ignores the impact that it would have on the other side for people who would be upset with them not supporting Israel. And this is fucking stupid, dude. And it would rally a lot more on the right as well. All right.